Part 89. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 893. 1 is Taoist Duobao, the chief disciple of the Tongtian cult. He is the first disciple of the three purities and has powerful magic. After being captured by Laozi with a wind and fire futon in the Zuxian sword formation, he transformed Hu into a Buddha outside Hang Pass and became the second most powerful disciple in Buddhism. The strongest person besides Yin and Zunti. Just one of his incarnations suppressed Buddhism in the immortal world and became famous. The two were Kongxian. Outside the Jinji Ridge, the immortals of the Chan cult were at a loss. Whether it was Taoist Lu Ya with a mysterious background or Taoist Ran Deng who had heard of the Tao in Xixiao Palace in ancient times, they were all beaten by the five-color divine light and fled in panic. If Zunti hadn't used the big to bully the small, I'm afraid Zhongzhou's foundation would have ended at the foot of Jinji Ridge. After the Battle of the Gods, the fame of the Peacock King Kongxian shocked the entire prehistoric world. But it is a pity that the Ming King did not come to the immortal world in his avatar. Is this person really so powerful? Everyone looks suspicious. It's no wonder they are like this. King Peacock Ming is a strong man who can defeat all the immortals. After becoming a god, for millions of years, no such powerful person appeared again. How could an unknown person compare to Kongxian? Of course this person is not as good as the Ming Dynasty king, but his magical powers are just like the Ming Dynasty king Neza said. Hearing this, the gods felt relieved. But even so, the dragon emperor's weight in their hearts instantly increased more than 10 times. Not everyone is qualified to compare with Peacock King Ming. Boom! The magnificent Tai thunder, like a giant sword falling from the sky, fell down instantly. In an instant, the entire sky was illuminated. Deep in the earth millions of feet below the land of Jingchu in the Sui dynasty. A huge black bubble absorbs the billowing yin energy flying from all directions. Within the bubble, there is a vast and boundless world. A crescent moon hangs in the sky, and the cold and pale moonlight shines down, dyeing all the mountains, rivers into frost color. It also brings light to this dark world. Crossing the mountains and rivers, passing through the city walls, we arrived at the core of the world. This is an extremely majestic city. Under the dim light, the city, which was entirely made of bluestone, looked like a sleeping giant beast, crawling on the ground. Huge. Silence. Majesty. In the center of the city is a gorgeous and majestic imperial city overlooking the entire city. In the middle of the imperial city is a magnificent palace. In the palace, military generals in armor and civil servants in robes lined up on the left and right. General Yuchi, do you know where the thieves who robbed Lingling County and are enemies of my Taoian ghost sect came from? What are the details? Wearing Cyan Lion King armor, tall and strong, with a lion's nose and a wide mouth, Yuchi Shandao is domineering. We don't know yet. Zhang Qiu died in battle, Yaowei's million-strong army was destroyed, and you don't even know who the enemy is. Yakishin's face showed anger, but he couldn't get angry. After all, what the other party said is the truth. Turning his eyes, he looked at the old man with a bright head standing on the right side of the opposite side. Xiang Wen, Zhang Qiu must have fallen into the enemy's trick and was defeated and killed. Please allow me to lead the Zhuaowei army to set off. In less than 3 days, I will definitely bring Lingling County and appear in front of your majesty. Wen Zhong glanced at him and shook his head. General Yuchi, you know his majesty's rules. Unless he allows you to get the amulet, mobilizing the army without permission is treason. Yakishin's expression froze for a moment, and then he became annoyed. Damn it, His Majesty is in seclusion at this time. Boom. The sound of thunder could be heard faintly. Although they were far apart, the ghosts couldn't help but be afraid and looked upward. Isn't it enough that those thieves took over Lingling County, and they dare to attack our Taoian ghost realm? It's not a thief, it's someone trying to survive. After Wen Zhong felt it for a moment, he said solemnly. It can make them all hear the sound of thunder deep underground and isolated by the power of the realm. The scale of this thunder disaster has reached the level of Deluo. Suddenly, a powerful wave of spiritual energy attracted everyone's attention. But I saw, above Lord Dan, on the large dragon chair, spiritual light was shining, and auspiciousness was flying. Gradually, a man wearing a black dragon robe, a flat crown on his head, a Chinese character face, a short beard on his chin, and a majestic look appeared. The figure of the young man gradually became clearer. The ghosts were shocked and quickly fell down. I will see your majesty. Get up. Thank you, your majesty. Yuchi-shan quickly came to the center and bowed down. Your majesty, Lingling County was suddenly occupied by an unknown force. General Zhang Qiu of the Yoga Guard and millions of ghost troops fell into his hands. The silence made Yuchi-shan fearful. The ghost emperor that he serves is not a tolerant person. Your majesty, I request you to lead the Zhuao guards on an expedition. If you don't conquer Lingling County, I would rather die in battle than withdraw your troops. I understand, please step back. The low and hoarse voice carried a strong pressure. Yuchi-shan did not dare to resist and quickly returned to the train. In fact, if he had not been the leader of the military officials and had joint responsibility, he would not have wanted to lead the troops to conquer Lingling County. After all, he is just Tai Golden Immortal, not much stronger than the divine sword ghost General Zhang Qiu. You guys are waiting here. The escaping light rushed up, and after leaving the Taiyan ghost world, the body turned into a puff of blue smoke and soared a million miles away. Once in mid-air, looking to the south, you can see from a distance that the tribulation energy is being replenished and the thunder is rolling, as if the world is being destroyed. I want to see who is going through the great Luo heavenly tribulation. Brother De Luo's escape speed was extremely fast. In less than a quarter of an hour, he crossed trillions of miles and arrived at Hongshan County in the north of Lingling County. Once here, he didn't go any further. The calamity is ruthless, so it's better to stay far away. Looking at the three disasters of wind, fire, and thunder in the distance, which are thousands of feet away, like a volcano erupting, and the powerful power of the continuous rivers, the Taiyan ghost emperor looked solemn. Even though a long time had passed, seeing this great tribulation still made him feel fearful. Moreover, the three disasters of wind, fire, and thunder at this moment were even stronger than when he was overcoming the tribulation. Generally speaking, the deeper the monk's accumulation, the stronger the power of the heavenly tribulation will be. The rewards will be greater after surviving the catastrophe. This shows how deep the accumulation of people who are going through the tribulation at this moment is. The last one. All the Deluo monks watching the tribulation sighed in their hearts at the same time. We have indeed reached the last one. The billowing calamity energy and the vast black clouds have spread for nearly 3 million miles, and the infinite spiritual energy has transformed into thunder. Gradually, a lavender thunder eye with a diameter of 3,000 feet appeared in the center of the calamity cloud. The lavender thunder water echoed in Lei's eyes. The water was calm and not rough. Compared with the violent thunder rolling around, the silence and movement are extreme. Slowly, the thunder water in Lei's eyes accumulated to the extreme. The first lavender petal slowly grew out. Gradually, a 3,000-foot thunder flower appeared in everyone's eyes. The mighty blue spiritual light shines thousands of miles away. The mysterious and magnificent purple glow reveals endless holiness. It is a flower of thunder and a flower of death. When it slowly descended from the sky and included the tribulation breaker, the entire sky was illuminated. At this moment, it seems that there is no concept of time and space. There was only a dazzling purple light left between heaven and earth. After an unknown amount of time, the powerful light of thunder slowly weakened. Everyone once again saw the tall figure shrouded in a five-color divine light. He still maintains the same appearance as when he started to overcome the tribulation, and his indifferent expression reveals the perseverance that cannot be moved by mountains and seas. The next moment, the fire disaster comes. The rolling flame spiritual energy gathered rapidly. At the same time, a crimson divine light appeared from behind the tall figure, and instantly became tens of millions of feet in size. The divine light exudes a rich and incomparable flame charm. The surrounding flame aura was instantly attracted by it, and swarmed towards the divine light. As a result, at least 20 to 30% of the flame aura was swallowed up by the divine light. The formation speed of the flame lotus slowed down by nearly twice in an instant. Su Junming saw it and smiled lightly. Of the three disasters of wind, fire, and thunder, fire is the least threatening to the Dragon Emperor. After this catastrophe, the red fire divine light will almost be able to advance to Daluo. Sure enough, the flame lotus withered faster than the thunder flower just now. The next one is the storm. The force of the billowing Sunda wind surges in from the solace of the feet, tearing away the intestines and bones, stabbing the heart and lungs, peeling off the skin and cramping the muscles, and can literally chop the person into pieces from the inside out. Fortunately, the Dragon Emperor's control over the divine light of the five elements has achieved transformation. Continuously take away the power of wind that is causing chaos in the body. The two sides went back and forth, and the battle was fierce. The Dragon Emperor's body gradually collapsed, but fortunately with the elixir prepared by Su Junming, the Dragon Emperor, who was not lacking in mana, gradually gained the upper hand and swallowed up all the evil wind in his body. After surviving the storm, although the Dragon Emperor's body was still upright, his face was extremely pale. He was mentally exhausted, and his eyes showed deep exhaustion. Knowing that the inner demon tribulation was coming next, he did not take any more pills, but quickly absorbed the surrounding spiritual energy to repair the damage in his body. Not long after, a black demonic energy flew into Niwen Palace. As soon as a flower blooms in front of my eyes, the scenery suddenly changes, and my memory changes with it. This is the calamity of inner demons. It's not just a fantasy, it also changes your memory. If the Taoist heart is not strong, it will be taken advantage of by the evil spirit, and it will lead to the collapse of the Tao. The Dragon Emperor is indifferent by nature, and his Taoist heart is even firmer than that of Su Junming. Not to mention the bronze mirror to assist. It didn't take more than a quarter of an hour before he woke up. The moment he woke up, the barrier that stood in front of him and hindered him from continuing to improve finally disappeared. Seeing the transformation of the millions of miles of calamity energy into the spiritual energy of creation, everyone who watched the calamity journey understood that the earthly immortal world had welcomed another great Luo celestial immortal. Infinite spiritual energy of creation swarmed into the body, and the injuries in the Dragon Emperor's body quickly disappeared. At the same time, the Danshan was also rapidly expanding, and billowing mana was generated. The momentum is also increasing. At this moment, in the center of Danshan, a five-color talisman looks like a mountain. It is the Dao fruit of the Dragon Emperor, the crystallization of the five elements Dao for thousands of years, the five elements talisman. Surrounding the five elements talisman is a divine light that shines in five colors, red, green, white, black, and green, and the rich charm of the five elements Taoism emanates from it. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 894. It is not the great five elements divine light that the Dragon Emperor has cultivated for 2,000 years, but the innate Tai Chi five elements basic Chi that he accompanies. From the Yuan Yang realm to the Tai realm, he has been enduring the innate five elements fundamental energy that came with it. Now that he has advanced to Daluo, there is no need to keep it anymore. Something moved in my heart. The fundamental Qi of the five elements of innate Tai Chi is like a swimming fish, flowing straight into the Niwan Palace along the two meridians of Ren and Du, and then flies out from the Beihui point on the top of the head. The next moment, the great five elements divine light that enveloped the whole body expanded crazily as if it had swallowed the Shiquan Dabu pill. 10,000 feet, 100,000 feet, 300,000 feet, and gradually reached 1 million feet. Red, green, white, black, and green, like 5 huge pillars of heaven, standing between heaven and earth. The rich 5-color divine light illuminates the heaven and earth, and the vast 5-color Taoist rhyme fills the sky. An extremely powerful coercion covers hundreds of millions of miles in radius. Taiyan Ghost Emperor's expression suddenly changed. The divine power revealed in this 5-color divine light has reached, or even exceeded, the top middle grade De Luo spiritual treasure. He has just overcome the tribulation. How can his natal spiritual treasure be so powerful? I don't know if he can't believe it, but countless people in the earth immortal world who are watching the tribulation are a little dumbfounded. Amitabha, it seems that this person's understanding of the 5 elements has already reached the middle stage of De Luo. Guanyin Bodhisattva whispered the Buddha's name and then said. The people around Lingji Bodhisattva, Samantabhadra Bodhisattva, and others nodded at the same time. They have practiced for millions of years. I have already advanced to the De Luo existence. I have rich experience and can understand the whole story at a glance. Looking at the majestic and vast 5-element divine light, how powerful is the 5-color divine light of Peacock Great Ming King Bodhisattva, said Manjushri Bodhisattva. Senior brother, if you are curious, find an opportunity to have a battle with him. After some testing, you will soon find out, Puxian Bodhisattva said with a smile. When he first sat down with Yuanshi Tianzun, Manjusri was above Samantabhadra and was the 7th disciple. So in private, I still call him senior brother. Shaked his head. Why bother provoking such a powerful enemy for no reason? I just don't know his identity. I did some calculations just now, but I didn't come up with any results. It won't take long before you know, Guanyin Bodhisattva said. Manjusri, Samantabhadra, and Lingji nodded at the same time. The tribulation was carried out in such a public way, and the momentum was huge. Even if it was not for the sake of fame, it would be impossible to hide it. Before long, it will be known to the whole world. Pity. The Dragon Emperor sighed inwardly. If it weren't for the laws of the earthly immortal realm, spiritual treasures above the middle level of De Luo would not be allowed to appear. His great 5 elements divine light could be trained to the 9 laws. That was a level only available to top-grade De Luo Lingbao. However, even if the level is not reached, the power of the great 5 elements divine light is no worse than that of a high-level spiritual treasure. After all, it is not only a spiritual treasure, but also a world of 5 elements. If the restraint is insufficient and the realm is not reached, the flexibility of driving the 5 elements of divine light will be greatly reduced, and more mana will be consumed. To sum it up, it's more than enough defense, not enough offense. Fortunately, he has other means. Gather your magic power and look around the sky, the 9 heavens and 10 earths. A sense of pride lingered in my heart. The poor Taoist Dragon Emperor, whose Taoist name is Taiyuan 5 Virtues True Monarch, is the 3rd ancestor of Chongshan Academy. As soon as this statement came out, countless people were shocked. Today I have passed through the heavenly tribulation and advanced to the great Luo Celestial Immortal. 3 years later, I will give a lecture on the 5 elements Dao outside Lingling City, Lingling County, Sui Dynasty. Monks from all over the world who practice the 5 elements Dao can come and listen. The mighty voice spread across hundreds of millions of miles, word of mouth. 3 years later, countless people will inevitably come. The 5 Virtues True Monarch of Taiyuan? The 3rd Patriarch of Chongshan Academy. Didn't King Su Tian say that his 3rd junior brother has long been promoted to De Luo? There was a scream of shock in the Lingxiao Palace. It seems that we were deceived by King Su Tian, Li Jing said coldly. Today, Su Junming's clone stayed in Tianhe to train the navy and did not come here. In fact, since he expanded the Tianhe navy to 2.8 million, he has never been here again. He rarely intervened in the dispute between Buddhism and Taoism in the Lingxiao Palace, as if it had nothing to do with him. This surprised Li Jing and others who originally thought that he would continue to compete with Buddhism. But this did not prevent Li Jing from hating him. However, no one in the Lingxiao Palace agreed with him. Even if what Su Junming said before was false, after watching this tribulation, Chongshan Academy actually has two great Luo celestials. And its strength is extraordinary. The fifth patriarch, Tai Zhenjun, was able to draw a tie with a veteran Luo like Manjushri Bodhisattva. Although the third patriarch Tai Yuan and the five virtues true monarch had just passed through the tribulation, looking at the scale of the tribulation thunder, one could tell how much he had accumulated. Looking at the five-color divine light like a pillar of heaven, the rich five-element Taoist charm, and the domineering momentum, it was incomparable. Deluo's middle-grade Lingbao is inferior. With such two strong opponents, who can compete with other sects in the world except Buddhism and Taoism? The Jade Emperor looked complicated. It would be great if such a strong person could be used by me. Tabai jinxing. I'm here. Take my handwriting and go to the treasure palace to get 3 purple striped flat peaches, 9 pieces of fine jade, and 12 pieces of fine ice silk, and give them to the 5 virtues true monarch. Although there is little hope, we still have to fight for it. I obey the decree. After the court meeting, the Jade Emperor did not return to the Sun Palace, but went directly towards the Tianhe River. If Su Junming doesn't come, he will go see the other party. At this moment, at Chongshan Academy in Lingling County, Su Junming said with a smile, "Why did you think of preaching? This place is the heart of Nanzan continent, with many outstanding people and talents. Taking this opportunity to select 1 or 2 can also enhance the strength of our Chongshan Academy here." He nodded understandingly. "Lao Wu guards the fundamental place in the south, and I'll leave this place to you." The Dragon Emperor nodded and said, "If I were to sit here, Chongshan Academy would not be trapped in just one Lingling County. In the earthly immortal realm, a Deluo celestial immortal is enough to guard a territory of trillions of miles, which is equivalent to the most ordinary world. It's up to you. But you can't go north, you can only go south and west. I don't want to compete with the Tang dynasty supported by Buddhism prematurely." The Dragon Emperor nodded. If they only occupied a marginal role, Buddhism and the Tang dynasty would tolerate it. If they dare to occupy the central plains, Jingxiang, Jiangsu, and Zhejiang and other elite places, there will be a battle between the two sides. This is obviously not in line with Chongshan Academy's long-term strategy. Taiyan Ghost Emperor Tuobufeng is here to visit, and I hope that the 5 virtues true monarch will not hesitate to meet him. Rolling sound waves came from afar. "This old ghost is here." Su Junming shook his head slightly. "Go ahead. If he doesn't understand current affairs, his ghost world will be destroyed." Although the Taiyan ghost realm is strong, the Dragon Emperor's great 5 elements divine light is now even stronger. After slightly nodding, a 5-color brilliance flashed across thousands of miles and arrived outside Lingling County. Because of the formation, Tuobufeng never dared to step into Lingling County. Of course, the bigger reason is because of the Dragon Emperor. Although he had just advanced to Deluo, the aura revealed by the opponent's 5-color divine light was really too powerful. Even he had his scruples. His pupils shrank, and a 5-color rainbow light came in the distance like lightning. In just a moment, he arrived in front of him. "It's pretty fast." Tuobufeng was secretly shocked. 100 feet away, the escaping light fell, and the Dragon Emperor, dressed in a white robe, with a green gourd hanging on his waist, a large cloak, and a golden crown on his head, with a handsome and indifferent appearance, appeared in front of Tuobufeng. Look at each other for a moment. Tuobufeng congratulates fellow Taoist for advancing to Deluo. "Thank you. I don't know that my Taiyan Ghost Sect's magical sword ghost General Zhang Qiu and a million ghost troops were captured by fellow Taoists." "Exactly. I also ask fellow Taoists to release my ghost sect disciples, and Lingling County will let Chongshan Academy be used as a Taoist temple." The Dragon Emperor shook his head. It's too late. They slaughtered countless living beings in Lingling County. They committed serious crimes, and they have all been killed by Pandeo. Tuo Feng's eyes suddenly became sharp, and his whole body was full of ghostly aura. The originally clear sky turned dark in an instant, and the sounds of ghosts crying and wolves howling were breathtaking. Fellow Taoist, do you think my Taoian ghost sect is easy to bully? The Dragon Emperor looked at him indifferently. It turns out that we should be polite first and then fight. If you want to fight, I will accompany you. The body shook, and 5 rainbow lights of red, green, white, black, and green appeared behind the head. The powerful aura made Tuo Feng's expression suddenly change. Being close at hand, one can more clearly sense the tyranny of the 5-color divine light. Deep scruples arose from the bottom of my heart. Thinking of the 2 great Luo celestial immortals currently suppressing the sect in Chongshan Academy, and being alone, he was by no means their enemy, and he couldn't help but think of retreating. Okay, I hope you won't regret what happened today. After saying a harsh word, the Taoian Ghost Emperor turned into light and disappeared into the ground. Do you really want to let him go? Su Junming's voice sounded in his sea of consciousness. Although you have become a great Luo celestial immortal now, your foundation is not yet solid. Although you are protected by the great 5 elements divine light, soul falling bell, void divine mirror and Suanwu shield, this old ghost is not weak. You want to get rid of it? He must put in a lot of effort. Instead of doing this, it's better to let him go first. Time is on our side. The Dragon Emperor nodded. Hunyuan Zhenmin has now been refined into Deluo Lingbao by Su Junming. Although he is now Deluo Celestial Immortal, it can still provide him with 10 times the time flow rate. Therefore, the longer it is delayed, the better it is for him. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, suddenly a ray of light flew from the west. The sharp sword energy penetrated the sky and was close in the blink of an eye. A middle-aged man wearing a green robe and a long sword on his back appeared from the light. Zhuwen, the Lijiang sword sect, has met fellow Daoist Su and fellow Daoist Long. Before Su Junming and Dragon Emperor could say hello, another ray of light flew from the east and came to the front and back, and out came an old Taoist with a thin body and a purple Taoist robe holding a floating dust. It turns out that fellow Taoist Zhuj is here too. Zhuwen laughed loudly. I'm only half a step ahead of you, old guy. With a calm smile, the old man turned around and slapped Su Junming and Dragon Emperor. Jing Chenzi of the Luofu sect has met 2 fellow Taoists. I sincerely wish fellow Taoist Long that he will survive the catastrophe and reach the wonderful land of Deluo. Su Junming and Dragon Emperor returned the favor one by one. They are no strangers to these 2 people. Zhuwen, the supreme elder of the Lijiang sword sect and the only Deluo monk. Jing Chenzi, the leader of the Luofu sect, is also the only great monk of the Luofu section. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 895. You 2 have come from afar, please come with Pandeo to my monastery to have a cup of tea, Su Junming said. It's my wish, but I don't dare to ask for my ear. He took the 2 of them outside Lingling City and sat down in the bamboo forest behind the central peak of the cave in Chongshan Academy. Su Junming served tea and spiritual fruits with thoughtful etiquette. Zhuwen and Jing Chenzi exchanged glances, and the former asked. I have heard for a long time that Chongshan Academy established a sect in the south of the Great Chu and controlled an area of 3 trillion miles. Why did you 2 come to the Sui dynasty to establish a sect? Everyone is a smart person. Su Junming understood immediately after hearing this. This was because he was afraid that they would expand rapidly in the Sui dynasty and harm the interests of both factions. After a brief consideration, Su Junming said. It is also a coincidence that we established a sect in Lingling County. I would like to hear the details such asked. After Pandeo received the invitation letter from the Yuntai Immortal Society, he prepared to travel while going there. Unexpectedly, when he arrived at Lingling County, he heard that the king of Chu, Xiaoxian, had handed over the tens of millions of Lingling County people to Taiyin. Ghost section. My Chongshan lineage is also an authentic Taoist sect, and it is our duty to eliminate demons and defend the Tao. It would be fine if we have never encountered such a tragic thing. Now that we have encountered it, of course we cannot ignore it. In order to protect the people here, we established our Chongshan branch here. After a pause, his eyes swept across their faces, and Su Junming smiled faintly. Don't worry, everyone. We, Chongshan Academy, have no intention of provoking a conflict with the Lijiang Sword Sect and the Luofu section. Even if we want to expand, we will only expand to the Taiyin Ghost Sect and those small countries in the south. Hearing this, the two of them breathed a sigh of relief. They only care about the basic base of their respective sections. As for more spheres of influence, they cannot hold it even if they occupy it. After all, Lijiang Sword Sect and Luofu Sect are not Chongshan Academy, and there are no two great Luo in charge. After receiving Su Junming's affirmative reply, the atmosphere among the three parties relaxed instantly. The conversation also became broader. After some exchanges, the two said goodbye and left. Looking at the retreating figure, the Dragon Emperor turned around. I'm not good at sociability. I'll leave it to you to receive all the visitors and sects during this period. Also, last time in Wuji Mountain's Kinkan Cave, 50% of the Great Luo spiritual pill you promised to refine is mine. It's time to fulfill it. Su Junming looked like he had a headache. Okay, leave it all to me. After nodding with satisfaction, the Dragon Emperor left. Soon, Sun Shi flew over again. Master, Liang Wang Xiaoxian has an envoy here, and I have arranged for him to stay at the Yamen of Lingling City. Xiaoxian's movements are very slow. Did the envoy say anything? He said that Liang Wang asked him to bring us a big gift. I want to see what kind of gift it is. With one step, he arrived at Lingling City Government Office in an instant. Since Lingling County was brought under the Chongshan sect, all the disciples here have been replaced by Chongshan disciples. As for the former county governor Zhou Xiahua, who is prepared to live and die with Lingling City, he has been sent to Chongshan Academy for training. In the future, he will be familiar with the rules of Chongshan sect and agree with the philosophy of Chongshan sect before he can be released as an official. Ancestor. I've met the ancestor. The disciples on duty saw him coming in, their eyes showed reverence, and they all bowed and saluted. Smiling and nodding, he stepped into the lobby. A middle-aged man wearing a GE robe, tall and thin, with 3 long beards on his chin and elegant temperament, stood up quickly. The king of Liang sent Zhao Wei to pay homage to Master Chongshan. To be able to cross hundreds of millions of miles so quickly and come here from Zhongling City, Zhao Lei also has some cultivation. And he is not weak at all. With the cultivation level of Tai Xianxian, he is only a small level lower than Su Junming. Please take a seat. After thanking Su Junming and seeing Su Junming sit down on the main seat, Zhao Lei slowly sat down. I wonder what the important matter is for King Liang to ask fellow Taoist disciples to come here. The king of Liang has always admired the famous sect in Chongshan, but it is a pity that he was separated by thousands of mountains and rivers and was busy with official duties, so it was difficult to visit in person. Therefore, I asked you to bring the treasure and congratulate your sect of Wu Genren for entering the Luo. While talking, he took out a jade box from the magic bag on his waist, held it up with magic power, and handed it to Su Junming. When the seal on it was opened, the jade box, which was originally only the size of a palm, expanded instantly and turned into the size of a water tank. A hot breath came from the gap. Opening the lid of the box, there was a piece of red metal with light golden lines on the surface. Red Lian copper. The real person is indeed well informed. This is exactly what he is. Red refined UN copper is a Dolodo spiritual material, and it has both fire and metal attributes, making it extremely rare. What's even more difficult is that this treasure is most suitable for training into an alchemy furnace. A flash of inspiration occurred in his left hand, and the jade box disappeared. The king of Liang is interested. As long as the real person is satisfied. After Zhao Wei breathed a sigh of relief, the king of Liang sent me here this time to tell me again and again that I must explain it clearly to the real person. In the beginning, the reason why he agreed to hand over the people of Lingling County to the Taiyan ghost sect was because he had no choice but to do so. What's the last resort? Taiyan ghost Emperor Tuobafeng was once a remnant of the humble tribe of the former Joseon dynasty, and he deeply hated us Han people. Therefore, this time he plans to take advantage of the chaos in the court to drive hundreds of millions of ghost troops to sweep across Jingxiang and establish a supreme ghost kingdom. As the lord of Jingxiang, King Liang could not allow such a tragedy to happen. He had no choice but to command the army and fight fiercely with Tuoba Peak. Unfortunately, there was no Doluo behind him, so he was defeated repeatedly and had to sign an alliance under the city. Abandon Lingling County in exchange for the safety of other counties under the rule of King Liang. Su Junming smiled lightly. That said, it was really a helpless move for King Liang to abandon Lingling County. The king of Liang loves his people as much as his sons. How could he give up Lingling County unless he had no choice but to do so? Zhao Lei was impassioned and looked excited. Those who don't know may just believe what he said. Fortunately, Chongshan Academy and Zhenren came forward, and hundreds of millions of people in Lingling County survived happily. Zhenren's contribution is so great that he will surely reap endless good results. After taking a look at Su Junming's expression, there was no change from before. Zhao Lei couldn't figure out what he was thinking at the moment. But the words told by King Liang before coming here are still in my ears and I have to say them. Master, Chongshan Academy is an authentic Taoist school. It eliminates demons and defends the Tao. It is praised by the world. The king of Liang has always admired it for a long time. However, the people of Jingchu are still facing the threat of the Taiyan ghost section. We hope that Chongshan Academy can show mercy again and protect King Liang and the people of Liang. If I agree, what will King Liang prepare to do in return for me? Su Junming said. If the real person agrees, King Liang is willing to hand over Guiyang County to Chongshan Academy as a dojo. Guiyang County is in the south of Lingling County, and the two counties are connected. They are both remote places surrounded by mountains, and there are many monsters. The king of Liang is willing to bear it. The king of Liang believes that the people of Guiyang County will definitely become rich under the rule of Chongshan. In that case, why doesn't he hand over Hongshan County to me? This, Zhao Lei was speechless for a moment. Although Hongshan County is also a poor place with many mountains and forests, but it can be used as the southern barrier of Jingchu Plain. If Hongshan County is lost, the army in the southern mountains and forests will be able to reach the core of the Liang Kingdom. As long as Xiao Mian is not stupid, he will not sell Hongshan. Su Junming knew the key, he just said it. Chongshan Academy can help King Liang. Thank you, Masato. Don't thank me yet, I haven't finished yet. Chongshan Academy is a cultivating section. It does not interfere with King Liang's struggle for world supremacy. It only protects the territory under King Liang from being invaded by monsters and monsters. As a price, Guiyang County is handed over to Chongshan Academy as a dojo. In addition, all counties, prefectures, and counties under the command of King Liang must have branches of Chongshan Academy. But if there are ghosts and monsters intruding the place, you can go to Chongshan Academy for help. Zhao Lei pondered for a moment, and he knew that Chongshan Academy had two great Luo people who were stronger than the Taiyan ghost section. This was why Xiao Mian asked him to win support from Chongshan Academy. But the king of Liang may not be willing to let this sect, which has broken down the country and is called a sect, but is actually the power of the country, penetrate every inch of the land under his command. You can rest assured that Pandeo has no intention of invading the land under the rule of King Liang. The reason why he opened the Chongshan branch is just to search for the best spiritual talents and pass on the section. You don't have to be afraid of the Taoist being dishonest. As a practitioner, you should be very aware of the horror of inner demons. Zhao Lei nodded. This matter is of great importance. I want to report it to King Liang first. It's natural. Standing up, Zhao Lei excuses himself. Shitu, you send fellow Taoist Zhao off for me. Yes, master. After the two left, the Dragon Emperor's figure appeared in the lobby. How did you come? Just throw it away. A black copper bell flew into Su Junming's hand. This soul-destroying bell is no longer enough. Help me to obtain the great Luo Lingbao through sacrifice. After taking it and looking at it briefly, he didn't refuse. As the techniques become more and more proficient, the realm of Tiangong Dao becomes higher and higher, and it is much easier to practice the Luo Lingbao than before. Aren't you planning to enter the north? Why did you change this time? Our Chongshan Academy is a sect in itself. It is appropriate to open branches and recruit disciples. Seeing the smile on his face, the Dragon Emperor understood. Although we do not control the local military and political power, Buddhism may not allow us to take charge of the Jingxiang practice world. Although the Buddhist sect is big, the Taoist sect is not weak either. How is it possible to take over the entire Tang dynasty? The Dragon Emperor nodded. You make the decision, I am only responsible for guarding Chongshan Academy. As soon as the words fell, the figure disappeared instantly. Time flies by, and 3 years have passed in the blink of an eye. In the past 3 years, practitioners from all over the world came to visit the Dragon Emperor in an endless stream. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 896. Master, there is so much excitement in Lingling City. The young man wearing a grey robe and carrying a sword on his back looked around at everything around him with curiosity on his face. The time for the Five Virtues Master's sermon at Chongshan Academy is approaching. Most of the monks practicing Five Elements Taoism in the entire earthly immortal world have gathered here. It is normal for it to be lively. Even so, you can tell autumn by looking at a leaf. But looking at the smiles on the faces of the most ordinary civilians around them, and having some level of cultivation, you can tell that Chongshan Academy has the ability to govern the place. It is rumored that Chongshan Academy takes seeking truth from facts, investigating things to gain knowledge, and all living beings being equal as its founding purpose, and is committed to educating all people. Now it seems that this is indeed the case. Walking in front, the old Taoist priest wearing a green robe thought to himself. Suddenly, a spiritual light fluctuated 3 feet away in front of him, and a beautiful young woman wearing an indigo dress, with a graceful temperament exuding compassion, suddenly appeared. Chongshan disciple Gongsun Juniang pays homage to Senior Songfeng. Songfeng Taoist was one of the 2 great figures of the Quanzhen Tao in the northern Sui dynasty. The other one was the head of the Quanzhen Tao, Chongyang Zi Wang Chongyang. It turned out to be Empress Suxin in person. With Tai Zhenjun and Dragon Emperor respectively surviving the heavenly tribulation and achieving Deluo, Chongshan Academy can no longer hide in a corner like before. The outstanding disciples of Chongshan sect are gradually becoming known. Especially third-generation disciples like Gongsun Juniang, who started earlier than many second-generation disciples, are even more famous. Juniang is frightened and asks the seniors to come with the juniors. The master is already waiting in the Chongshan hall of our section. Please, fellow Taoist, please lead the way. Senior, please. In the Chongshan hall, Su Junming looked at the picture in the water mirror and said with a smile, Juniang is becoming more and more mature. Next to her, Jiao Shaoxin smiled and nodded. She was also very satisfied with this eldest disciple. When it comes to cultivation, the level of Tai Golden Immortal is comparable to that of Zhuge Liu Yuan, Yang Rong, Yetian Yuan, Zhou Qing, Fu Qingfeng, and Gu Hong, the top disciples of the three generations. Su Junming opened his palms, and a red three-legged copper stove, wrapped in rolling flames, flew towards Jiao Shaoxin. The powerful aura of precious energy instantly attracted Jiao Shaoxin's attention. Deluo Lingbao. The name of this treasure is Fire Cloud Furnace. I made it out of red refined copper. It is a low-grade spiritual treasure of the three forbidden great Luo. It will be enough for you to use for a while. It just so happens that my disciple's sacred cauldron of creation is not enough. Thank you, Master. Su Junming smiled. He had watched Jiao Shaoxin grow up, just like his own daughter. The most favored among all the disciples. Put it away, the guests are here. Jiao Shaoxin nodded and put away the fire cloud stove. Follow Su Junming walking outside. From a distance, I could see the eldest disciple Gongsun Juniang leading Taoist Songfeng and his disciples over. Fellow Taoist Songfeng has come all the way, and Su Junming is extremely honored. You are so polite, fellow Taoist Su, for taking the liberty of visiting me. I hope you will forgive me. Please. Please. Arriving at Chongshan Hall, the guests and hosts took their seats. After drinking tea. Why don't you see your junior brother, fellow Taoist Long? Oh, he has been stabilizing his cultivation for 3 years after breaking through. He cannot come out of seclusion, so I, a senior brother with a low cultivation level, have to come out to entertain the guests for him. I see. But fellow Taoist, don't worry. When I preach in 7 days, my junior brother will definitely show up, Su Junming said with a smile. That's good. A seasoned Taoist practicing the Aoki way, I have long wished to listen to the 5 elements Tao of Master Wu Yud. If things weren't so complicated and difficult to get out of, I would have flown here a long time ago. It's really an honor for my junior brother to be praised so much by fellow Taoists. After Taoist Songfeng finished speaking with laughter, he pondered for a moment. Fellow Taoist Su, I came from the north. Along the way, I saw all the counties, prefectures and counties in the Liang Kingdom, and branches of Chongshan Academy. Are you planning to help Xiao Mian of the Liang Kingdom put an end to the troubled times and replace it with the great Sui dynasty? Since Xiao Mian agreed to Su Junming's conditions 3 years ago, a large number of Chongshan disciples entered the Liang Kingdom and established 9 upper courts, 93 middle courts, and nearly 1,000 lower courts. He became the overlord in the cultivation world of Liang Kingdom. Fellow Taoist, you have misunderstood. Although I, Chongshan Academy, have gone deep into the Liang Kingdom, we are only responsible for slaying demons and do not interfere with the Liang Kingdom's struggle for hegemony. Whether the Liang Kingdom replaces the Sui dynasty in the future, or whether the Great Sui dynasty or other countries destroy the Liang Kingdom, it has nothing to do with us, Su Junming affirmed. I see, I have misunderstood you. Taoist Songfeng felt relieved. Quanzhen Taoism has long predicted that the general trend in the world is that the Li family will replace the Yang family and become the supreme leader in the 9th 5-year plan. So he has been secretly supporting Weigong Limi. With the support of Quanzhen Taoism, the largest sect in the north, the Weigong army marched south and north, completely controlling the heart of the Central Plains. There is a faint tendency to transform into a real dragon. Seeing Taoist Songfeng's expression in his eyes, Su Junming smiled secretly in his heart. Buddhism obscured the secret of heaven, making everyone in the world think that Limi's Weigong would replace the Sui dynasty, but the actual real dragon emperor was indeed Li Yuan. If Su Junming hadn't already known history, had a bronze mirror, and was proficient in the magic of heaven, he would have been kept in the dark. Just as Su Junming was about to change the subject, a spiritual light suddenly appeared in the hall. The aura expanded and transformed into Ning Keichen's figure. Reporting to the Patriarch, Immortal Zhen Yuan is here to visit and has now arrived outside Lingling City. I know, I'll go right away. Disciple resigns. After the light and shadow disappeared, Su Junming stood up. Immortal Zhen Yuan is here to visit, and I want to go there in person to greet him. Fellow Taoist, please sit here for a moment. Taoist Songfeng stood up. The great immortal is too senior. My Taoist friends and I will go together to greet him. That's fine. The two of them each led their disciples out of the Chongshan Hall and down to the central peak. Just as they were about to go out, Ning Keichan had already brought Zhen Yuanzi, who was wearing an apricot yellow Taoist robe, accompanied by two boys, Qing Feng and Min Jiao, who had an immortal style. Come flying. Fellow Taoist Su, the old Taoist is here to harass me again. What are you talking about, great immortal? You are a distinguished guest that I can't even invite. Not to mention coming a few more times, I would be happy if you stayed here. Haha, fellow Taoist Su is too polite. Oh. Fellow Taoist Matsu Feng is here too. Songfeng pays homage to the great immortal. After hundreds of years of absence, the great immortal's demeanor remains the same, which is gratifying. Taoist Songfeng held the disciple ceremony and came forward to pay homage. When he was still a Taoist boy, he was given a ginseng fruit by the immortal Zhen Yuan, which established his foundation. Later, he went to the Wuzhuang of Wanzhou Mountain many times to observe and listen to Taoism. Zhen Yuan's Aoki Taoism was of great help to him. You're welcome, get up quickly. Taoist Songfeng stood up and was about to speak when he saw Situ Minjiao ushering an old woman in Geyi and carrying a dragon-headed crutch over. It turns out it was my mother who came to visit. Su Junming missed her from afar, but I hope you can forgive me. Lishan's old mother slapped her head. I never thought that fellow Taoist Su's place would be so lively. My fellow Taoist does not practice the 5 elements Dharma, so why did you come to Lingling this time? Zhen Yuanzi asked with a smile. I'm still thinking about it, so I came to take a look. Songfeng pays homage to my mother. Although Taoist Songfeng is also a Deluo monk, his seniority is much lower than that of Lishan's mother. After Mrs. Lishan returned the courtesy, she didn't wait to speak. Jin Yun, the fourth disciple of Situ Minjiao, led Ljiang sword sect Zuj when to fly up. After Zuj asked, Guyu, Qiao Shaoxin's fifth disciple, brought Jing Qinzi, the head of the Luofu sect. After Jing Qinzi, Qiao Shaoxin's sixth disciple Yang Yunqian brought the Yuntai immortal sect Yulin Jinren. The seventh disciple, Qin Hanyi, brought Fu Yunzi, the supreme elder of Leguan Taoism. Behind him, Lejun watched Taoist Chang Kong and Zhang Yuyang from the Ziyang sect came to drink. As long as there are 2 top Deluo sects in the world, a Deluo monk will come to the door. Of course, the Ljiang sword sect and the Luofu sect are simply not close to each other. Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan's mother were good Taoist friends. In less than half an hour, more than a dozen Deluo monks had gathered here. It is truly a supreme honor for our Chongshan family to have all of you fellow Taoists come to our Chongshan Academy. I also ask all fellow Taoists to follow Pandeo to the Chongshan Hall and sit down. Su Junming took the initiative and led everyone to the main hall, where the guests and hosts were seated. Zhen Yuanzi is the oldest and sits first on the left-hand side. Old Mother Lishan came next, sitting first on the right-hand side. Afterwards, everyone took their seats one by one according to the path of enlightenment. 7 disciples from Qiao Shaoxin sect acted as waiters, serving tea and water to the seniors and entertaining them attentively. The guests and hosts enjoyed themselves for a while. Suddenly, a huge spiritual light flew from behind, and after landing, a stern-looking young man wearing a white robe, a crane cloak, and a jade crown appeared. The 5-color aura that enveloped his body explained his identity. Give a fist salute. Fellow Taoists have come to Chongshan to express their congratulations to the poor. The Dragon Emperor is deeply grateful. You're welcome, fellow Taoist dragon. Our Taoist family has added a Deluo, which is a gratifying event. Of course we have to come in person, Zuch asked. What fellow Taoist Zuch said is true. While everyone was talking, Dragon Emperor sat down on the left side of Su Junming. It's a rare day today, why don't we wait and discuss the Tao, old Mother Lishan said suddenly. Everyone subconsciously looked at Dragon Emperor and Zhen Yuanzi. Of these three people, one is an ancient senior and the other is a landlord. As for Su Junming, although he is the headmaster of Chongshan Academy, the cultivation level of Tai Golden Immortal is naturally lower than that of a group of Deluo. As long as fellow Taoist Long doesn't object, the old Taoist will be fine. Dragon Emperor glanced at Su Junming, who nodded. The so-called discussion of Tao, apart from the modest gains, the biggest role is to test the level of a person's level of humane law. Coincidentally, Su Junming also wanted to see the cultivation level of Deluo present. The Dragon Emperor was indifferent by nature, so after getting Su Junming's permission, he immediately got to the point. The universe of heaven and earth is transformed into the 5 elements, and the 5 elements are metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. Accompanied by mysterious sounds, half-mu Qingyun floated up from the Baihui point on the Dragon Emperor's head. 3 large green lotuses emerged from Qingyun. In the middle, the 5-color spiritual light rushes up in the green lotus, and the 5 qi of metal, wood, water, fire, and earth are combined inside. It is deep and mysterious, as if it contains a vast world. At the core of the 5-color aura, a round 5-color Tao fruit blooms with auspicious energy. On the left side of the golden lotus is a sky blue bronze mirror and a black bronze bell, hovering in it. The golden lotus on the right is holding a dark brown shield, and a thick and concentrated aura emanates from the shield. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 897. The monks here are basically Deluo, and the remaining Chongshan disciples major in the Tao of creation, not the 5 elements Tao. Therefore, the Dragon Emperor directly taught the principles of 5 elements Tao that can only be understood by the Deluo realm. When the Taoists heard the obscure Taoist principles, they quickly concentrated all their energy. One after another, Qingyun the size of half an acre appeared above everyone's heads. Different Taoist fruits and different magic weapons represent different ways of entering the Taoist realm. But what surprised Su Junming, but also took it for granted, was that Zhen Yuanzi was always there, with his eyes slightly closed and his face calm, as if he was listening to the sermon, but also as if he was not listening. There was not the slightest hint of momentum on his body, and there was no trace of happiness on his head. Obviously, although the Dragon Emperor's 5 elements Dao is profound, it is still far behind the ancestor of the earth immortal. What's strange is that there is nothing strange about the top of Lishan's mother's head. However, compared to Zhen Yuanzi's and Ran, old Mother Lishan was sitting upright, exuding an extremely mysterious aura, and she had obviously entered a state of enlightenment. It is rumored that old Mother Lishan is the Holy Mother of Wudain, a disciple of Ji cult. I wonder if it is true or false, Su Junming thought to himself. Apart from the fact that these two were in strange states and obviously superior in skills, what surprised him was that the one who was stronger than the other Deluo was actually Jingchenzi, the head of the Luofu sect. Half an acre of Qingyun holds 3 red lotuses. A round, red Tao fruit on the lotus in the center blooms with infinite divine light. A rich flame radiance emanates from it. The lotus on the left holds a fire mirror, and the lotus on the right holds a copper pot with a long mouth filled with flames. The bronze kettle has a narrow neck, a bulging belly and sloping shoulders, and is embossed with a Monado picture, and a powerful inspiration is hidden in it. Deluo's middle-grade spiritual treasure. All Deluo monks have 1 or 2 Deluo lower-grade spiritual treasures with them, but except for Jinglan Genren of Yuntai Immortal Sect, no one has any of them. Of course, Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan Mother are definitely not included. More importantly, this copper pot possesses the 6 forbidden laws, which can be called the best among Deluo's middle-grade spiritual treasures, and is also the limit that the earthly immortal world can accommodate. Move the bronze mirror and understand the forbidden laws in detail. Such a powerful Binghuo spiritual machine, and there is a distinct smell of the Shangqing artifact refining technique. I wonder how it is related to the legendary heavenly fire 10,000 crows pot. After shaking his head secretly, he didn't care anymore. From its creation to the present, the prehistoric world has gone through 5 eras: the beginning, the ancient times, the Middle Ages, and the modern times. The passage of hundreds of millions of years has left behind endless secrets. He has only practiced cultivation for 2,000 years, so he can know everything. As the Dragon Emperor's sermons became more and more mysterious, the monks became more and more intoxicated. Although old Mother Lashan did not show the Qingyun lotus, her mysterious aura became stronger and stronger. Only Zhen Yuanzi still looked calm. This is also understandable. This person was from Zixiao Palace back then, and was on the same level as Sanking, Jian, Zunti, Kunpeng, and Blood Sea Ancestor. A true ancient power. If it were not restricted by the rules of the earthly immortal realm, even if it was just a clone, it would still be a Deluo Jinxian, or even a stronger existence. The 7 days passed gradually. The Dragon Emperor suddenly stopped speaking. All the Deluo below frowned at the same time. This feeling is like waiting for a sumptuous lunch, only to eat half full before being interrupted. It makes you feel uncomfortable if you can't eat or drink. Fellow Taoists, the 7 days have come. The day when I promised to preach to the monks all over the world is just around the corner, so I can't delay it any longer, said the Dragon Emperor. Liguan Dao Fufengzi bowed deeply. I never imagined that fellow Taoist Dragon's 5 elements Taoism realm is so profound. I have gained a lot from this practice and am deeply impressed by it. His words expressed the feelings of all Deluo in labor. Although the Dragon Emperor's magic power is only that of Deluo Celestial Immortal, his understanding of the 5 elements has already reached the middle stage of Deluo. Fellow Daoist Long should be treated as a courtesy by half-masters like me. Jingchenzi of the Luofu school bowed his head to the end with a respectful attitude. He who preaches and receives vocation is a teacher. After listening to the Dragon Emperor's teachings for 7 days, they learned more than what they had learned through 3 years of hard training. Of course, they had to repay with half a teacher's gift. Fellow Taoists, you are welcome. There is no need to be polite, the Dragon Emperor said calmly. With Taoist fellow Long's Taoism, it can take up to 3,000 years to advance to the level of Deluo True Immortal, Zhen Yuanzi said with a smile. As soon as these words came out, the faces of all the great Luo people changed slightly. However, they all knew that Zhen Yuanzi's words were not lies. The most difficult thing about practicing in the Deluo realm is not the magic power, but the Taoism. It is normal to have insufficient understanding and insufficient opportunities to make progress after thousands of years. But the Dragon Emperor has already comprehended the 5 elements Dao and reached the great Luo True Immortal realm. If he only cultivates magic power, he will naturally advance quickly. In addition, Deluo True Immortal is the strongest person in the earthly immortal world, whether it is Zhen Yuanzi, Taizhang Lejun, Tathagata Buddha, etc., they are all in this realm. If the Dragon Emperor can advance to the level of Deluo True Immortal, then Chongshan Academy can become the pillar of the Taoist sect, standing alongside the Yuntai Immortal sect in the earthly immortal world. At this moment, Qiao Shaoxin flew over. Master Qi, second master uncle, and all seniors, the time for preaching has arrived. Monks from all over the earthly immortal realm are already waiting at Jinding Peak. Second Master Uncle Yu Ji is also invited to come. The Dragon Emperor nodded and looked around. Would you all be willing to come with me? Of course you can't miss such a grand event, Zuchuan laughed out loud. All the great Luo people agreed and were willing to go. In this way, Dragon Emperor, Su Junming, Zhen Yuanzi and Lashan Laomu were in front, and the others were behind, and they all went to Jinding Peak. Jinding Peak is where Chongshan Academy preaches, and Su Junming once set up the Hushan Dharma array here. If pushed to the extreme, a land with a peak can be turned into a world of void billions of miles away. Just hearing the words of the sermon is enough to seat hundreds of millions of people. Fortunately, he trained the Golden Cauldron Peak so well. When a group of people arrived here, they found that around the central pulpit, there was a dense crowd of listeners, stretching tens of millions of miles away. I didn't expect so many people to come here to listen to the sermon, Zhang Yuyang, the supreme elder of the Ziyang sect, said in surprise. There are trillions of monks in the earthly immortal world, and the 5 elements Taoist practitioners are the most numerous. Fellow Taoist Dragon is also a Deluo monk, so this opportunity is rare. Of course, everyone wants to come here to listen to the Tao. Zuch asked. What fellow Taoist Zuch said is true. If the earthly immortal realm were not vast and difficult for monks other than Yuan Yang immortal realm and above to cross, I'm afraid there would be even more monks coming here today. Jingchenzi agreed. Seeing Deluo monks appear on the pulpit one after another, the waiting monks around them instantly became excited. Here he comes, he's here, that's the 5 virtues true monarch. I was lucky enough to take a look at him from afar when he was going through the tribulation. I can't be wrong. Is that the legendary ancient great power Zhen Yuan immortal? I didn't expect him to come too. Old Mother Lishan, that's old Mother Lishan, I once heard sermons from her. The appearance of every Deluo monk can cause countless people to exclaim. For ordinary monks, being at the top of the world is the goal they pursue throughout their lives. Now when I see it, I feel like a star-struck fan has seen the star he has admired for a long time. His eyes are extremely fiery. Amidst the noise like a roaring mountain and a tsunami, the monks came to the pulpit. The pulpit is a round Bagua platform. In the middle is a magnificent stone gate 9 feet high. This stone gate contains the projection of Hunyuan Zhenmen, which is specially used to test the qualifications of the disciples of Chongshan sect. All the Deluo came to sit under the Shenmen. Dragon Emperor, Su Junming, Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan Mother sat in the center, and the other Deluo were arranged on both sides. Seeing them sit down, the noise in the audience gradually subsided. It took a lot of effort to get here, but no one wanted to miss the opportunity to listen to a great Luo preaching. I am a poor Taoist, the 5 virtue true monarch of Taiyuan, and the 3rd patriarch of Chongshan Academy. I have now become a great Luo celestial immortal. Feeling that all sentient beings have experienced the hardships of learning the Dao, I have specially preached for 3 months. No noise is allowed in the middle. Anyone who violates this will be kicked out of this place. The last sentence was uttered with a lion's roar, and the mighty divine power reached the ears of hundreds of millions of listeners, making everyone feel fear in their hearts. The Dragon Emperor flicked his finger, and a black bell appeared in the air. Boom! The bells like yellow bells and big bells spread in all directions. The sound of the bell seemed to have a power to soothe people's hearts, slowly calming down the people who were originally anxious, depressed, expecting, and excited. Zhen Yuanzi heard this and looked up at the black copper bell. The power that points directly to the soul, no wonder it is so mysterious. Unfortunately, it is still too weak. If it can reach the Hunyuan level. Shaked his head. Unless there are Hunyuan monks who practice the Taoism of the heart and soul, just a spiritual treasure will not be able to turn things around. Not to mention Zhen Yuanzi's psychological changes, the Dragon Emperor had already started preaching. The magnificent yet mysterious sound can be clearly heard even though it is thousands of miles away. Gradually, everyone sank into the Dragon Emperor's mysterious principles. In the first half month, we will talk about the 5 elements of Taoism, including foundation building, Xiantian, golden elixir, Yuanying, and Yuan Shen. The middle month will talk about the 4 realms of Yuan Yang celestial immortal, Yuan Yang true immortal, Yuan Yang Xianxian, and Yuan Yang golden immortal. In the last month and a half, I talked about the 4 realms of Tai celestial immortal, Tai True Immortal, Tai Xianxian, and Tai Golden Immortal, and also briefly dabbled in the Delugo realm. Although the time was short, the Dragon Emperor, who was standing in the Delugo realm, truly managed to explain the profound things in a simple and easy to understand way. This is the advantage of being in a high position, which makes everyone who comes here to listen to the sermon feel that they have gained a lot. I would like to thank the teacher for his sermon. A tsunami-like shout of thanks shook the entire Jinding Peak. The sermon has been completed. Today, this poor Taoist intends to recruit good talents among you to join my section. If you are interested, you can enter the stone gate behind me. Anyone who can pass the test of the stone gate and stay behind me can be a disciple of the inner section. If you can sit in front of my knees, you can be the direct disciple of this section. The Dragon Emperor stretched out his hand and the pulpit instantly expanded. In an instant, it turned into a height of thousands of feet. Boom, the stone door opened, revealing an extremely deep void space like the night sky. That's all for those who have already become disciples of other sections. There are a large number of casual cultivators who are not willing to give up such an opportunity. You need to know that this is Chongshan Academy, the top sect in the earthly immortal realm, with two great logo statues in charge. If you can join the sect, you will not only get access to advanced cultivation techniques and numerous cultivation resources, but you will also no longer have to worry about being bullied by the sect disciples. There are many benefits. Therefore, the moment the master's door opened, countless monks flew straight into the stone door like moths to a flame. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest for us. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 898. The monks, like stars in the sky, flew into the stone gate. But soon the stone door popped out of the cave in the Lingling upper courtyard of Chongshan Academy. According to the standards of Chongshan Academy, only those who can survive 200 illusion tests can become an inner disciple. Only after passing 365 tests can one become the direct successor. Among all tests, character comes first, perseverance comes second, understanding comes third, and qualifications last. Those who are cunning, jealous, and ungrateful are the first to be eliminated. No matter how good your cultivation is or how high your qualifications are, if your character is not up to par, nothing will matter. Next, those who are opportunistic and shirk the easy ones will be eliminated. Cultivating Taoism itself is a hard task. Months of retreat are a form of physical and mental torture. Without enough perseverance, it will be difficult to achieve anything. Comprehension is the third. Dharma is easy to cultivate, but the Tao is difficult to understand. If you don't have enough understanding, you may not be able to gain 10% of your efforts if you put in a lot of effort. Rather than grow old in the deep ravines of the mountains and wither in front of the Green Lantern Road, it is better to live 100 years and be wealthy and happy for the rest of your life. Qualification last. Qualifications are not important. If your character, perseverance, and understanding are sufficient, you can get started even if you lack qualifications. Chongshan Academy has enough elixirs to help you practice. But if you have good qualifications, you can get twice the result with half the effort. Therefore, according to this assessment standard, the 365 levels of illusion are eliminating a large number of monks every moment. All those who were eliminated were directly sent out of Lingling City by Hunyuan Jinmen. Those who can pass the test of 200 illusions appear behind the Dragon Emperor and other Delugo monks, looking at everything around them, feeling both excited and regretful. I am excited that I have someone to rely on and can be included in the big section. I am regretful that I did not pass all the tests and become the direct successor. Fellow Taoists, the test of your sect is really harsh. After so many people have been eliminated, none of them can be listed as direct successors, Zhen Yuanzi said. The direct disciples are closely related to the sect and are connected by destiny. Of course, we must be cautious. Just as Zhen Yuanzi was about to continue, he suddenly felt something and subconsciously looked to the left. Auras of light gathered there, and a figure gradually became clear. This man was wearing a navy blue robe, with his hair tied in a bun, a long beard on his chin, and bright eyes. Judging from his appearance, he was about 40 years old. His cultivation level is just that of Tai True Immortal, but he has a calm temperament about him. Su Junming and Longdi's eyes lit up when they saw this person. With bronze mirrors on their bodies, they could clearly see the long aura on the top of this person's head. After a moment of consciousness, Zhen Yuanzi nodded slightly. There was a look of approval on his face. Junior Li Chunfeng, greetings to all seniors. Li Chunfeng, Su Junming's heart moved. This name is not unfamiliar to him. But he didn't know if this Li Chunfeng was the Li Chunfeng who was as famous as Yuan Tiangang in history and co-produced the famous Tui Beitu that has been passed down through the ages. Are you willing to accept me as your master? The Dragon Emperor said. Regardless of whether this Li Chunfeng is by Li Chunfeng or not, he has passed the 365 tests of Hunyuan Zhenmin and is at the Tai realm, so he is qualified to become his disciple. Disciple is willing. Li Chunfeng nodded. Before coming to Lingling City to listen to the sermon, he had already made a fortune for himself. Becoming a disciple is the one who wins the lottery. If you don't become a disciple, you won't perish, but you won't be able to peek into the secret realm of Deluo. The Dragon Emperor nodded with satisfaction. From today on, you are my fourth disciple. Thank you, Master, for recording the door wall. Go and meet your master uncle. Li Chunfeng pays homage to the headmaster. Su Junming smiled and nodded, waved his right hand, and several streams of light flew into his hand. This is the storage gourd and portable cave that all direct disciples of our sect have. Please accept it. Thank you, Master. Are you good at the art of Kimandungia? She looked at him in surprise and nodded. I have some experience here on studying Kimandungia. You can take it back and have a look. A jade slip flew into Li Chunfeng's hand. After a brief look, a look of shock appeared on his face. He bowed solemnly. Disciple, thank you Master for giving me the Dharma. Behind the small shop, sit down behind your master, wait until the apprenticeship is completed, and then all the disciples will be recorded on the jade plate, and they will be given the most important treasure of self-defense. Yes. After responding, Li Chunfeng walked behind Dragon Emperor and sat down cross-legged. Congratulations, fellow Taoist Master Long has gained a good disciple, and the foundation of Chongshan Academy has become even stronger, Zhen Yuanzi said with a smile. Borrow the Immortal's auspicious words. After Zhen Yuanzi smiled slightly, he flicked his fingers, and 3 elixirs that shone with rich spiritual light flew in front of Li Chunfeng. This ginseng pill is a Deluo low-grade elixir that I refined using ginseng fruit as the main ingredient and 999 auxiliary medicines. If I have the chance to see you as your apprentice today, I will give it to you. Li Chunfeng looked at Dragon Emperor, and after receiving his master's permission, he took it respectfully with both hands. Unlike the great immortal, I am not proficient in the art of alchemy. I don't have the best elixir for you. As she spoke, a shining silver sword appeared in the hands of old Mother Lishan. I got this flying star sword by chance. I can't use it if I keep it in my hand, so I'll give it to you. A magic sword at the level of a top-grade immortal treasure is just right for Li Chunfeng to use now. With his teacher's permission, he did not refuse and accepted it respectfully. Zuyu was in front of him, and the other Deluo monks who came to hear it could not pretend to be deaf and dumb, so they all took the treasures and gave them to them. But they are basically elixirs, with occasional spiritual herbs and materials, and rarely fairy treasures. After this round, Li Chunfeng got a lot of treasures. If Tiandaokyo doesn't deceive me, becoming a disciple is the real way out. After Li Chunfeng, more and more people pass the test of inner disciples, but the direct disciples have not appeared for a long time. When the number of registered disciples sitting 9 feet away behind the Dragon Emperor exceeded 3,000, spiritual light finally bloomed in front of him. Gradually, a woman with a pure white body, a slender waist, lotus arms and jade feet, big breasts and long legs, a beautiful and fragrant woman, extremely beautiful and extremely charming, appeared in front of everyone. There is no doubt that this is the most beautiful woman Su Junming has ever seen in his 2,000 years of practicing Taoism. Even with his concentration and the help of the bronze mirror, he was stunned for a moment when he saw this woman. This shows how powerful her charm is. It turns out to be a 9-tailed white fox, no wonder it has such charming power. Zhen Yuan's aside. The words contained a deafening sound of thunder, causing all the Daluo monks who had fallen into beauty to wake up instantly. It is rumored that the 9-tailed white fox is the most powerful divine beast in the ancient world. It is indeed extraordinary to see it today. Jingqin's aside. I'm ashamed of myself. After tens of thousands of years of practice, I can't resist the charm of this woman. Fukanzi shook his head with a look of shame. May I have your name? Looking at the timid woman in white who was transformed into a 9-tailed white fox, the Dragon Emperor asked. The real person is Qizhen, the little girl Hu Meiniang. Hu Meiniang. Su Junming frowned slightly. Shouldn't Hu Meiniang be a rabbit? You want to become my disciple? Hu Meiniang shook her head and nodded quickly. What do you mean? Dragon Emperor frowned. Information to the Patriarch, the younger generation already has a master. This time he came to listen to the sermon. It was the master's instruction. By the way, the disciples have paid homage to the Patriarch and are listed on the door wall. As he said that, he took out a feather with brilliant aura and icy charm from his hair bag. Su Junming stretched out his hand. This is Xiao Huang'er's Huang Yu. So you have been accepted by Xiao Huang'er. Hu Meiniang nodded quickly. My disciple was originally a wild monster in the Tianhuang mountain. Later, my mentor traveled here and saw that I had some qualifications, so he took me under his tutelage and taught me. I just successfully transformed some time ago. My mentor said that although his disciple has become a true immortal of Yuan Yang, he lacks experience, so he took him to Lingling County and asked him to come and learn from his master. Su Junming held the phoenix feather, shook his head and laughed. Here and there it is a test of the disciples, and it is clearly a performance of protecting the calf. In 3 years, Lingling County and Guiyang County to the south have long been covered by the Chongshan Academy formation. Not to mention the murderous monsters, even ordinary mountain bandits and road tyrants have been eradicated long ago. Danger! Xiao Huang'er, come out. Cold light flickered in mid-air, and a woman wearing a long white dress, with her hair tied high and a cold expression appeared in front of everyone. Master, Hu Meiniang flew over quickly. After smiling and patting her head, Su Huang flew down. Su Huang pays homage to his mentor, his third uncle, and all the seniors. This disciple of Chongshan Academy is no stranger to everyone here. 100 years ago, in the Battle of Wu Shenyao Kingdom, she single-handedly defeated the 8 heavenly dragon bodhisattvas of Buddhism, which made her famous, and she became the number 1 among the second-generation disciples of Chongshan Academy. People. With her outstanding beauty and cool temperament, her name as the Ice Phoenix Fairy spread throughout the world. You kid, just accept disciples. Why do you need to send them here again? Although he said this, Su Junming did not show any blame on his face. Take your little apprentice and sit in the back. After the apprenticeship is completed, we can enter the list of Kongshan's direct descendants together. Disciple, obey. Fellow Taoist Su, this girl is from the Demon clan, and she is also from the 9-tailed Fox clan, which has the best charm skills in the world. Accepting this girl into the family is a disaster rather than a blessing. Zhang Yuyang, the supreme elder of the Ziyang sect, said in a message. Thank you Taoist Zhang for your advice. However, the purpose of our Chongshan Academy is to teach people without distinction. Regardless of whether they are monsters or humans, as long as they respect the rules of our Chongshan Academy and have a righteous mind, they can enter our Chongshan Academy to practice. Although this woman is a nine-tailed white fox, she has a pure temperament and a clear spirit. She has obviously never killed innocent people indiscriminately. Moreover, she has passed the test of being a direct disciple of Chongshan Academy. Such an outstanding disciple cannot be turned a blind eye. As for charm, if you are selfless in your heart and have no desires in your thoughts, you will naturally have no worries. The 9 white foxes are from the royal family of foxes, innate divine beasts at the Tai Chi level, and their cultivation qualifications are no weaker than those of the Lingming stone monkey Sun Shi, so of course the disciples cannot turn them away. Since Taoist friends insist, it is not convenient for me to say more. I hope Taoist friends will take it seriously. Su Junming glanced at him and nodded. Although everyone around her, except Zhen Yuanzi and old Mother Lishan, admired Hu Meiniang's beauty, there was a sense of alienation among them. The 9-tailed white fox Sudaji was a being who could charm even King Zhou of Shang back then. They didn't want to cause such a big trouble. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 899. After Hu Meiniang, it took half an hour for the third disciple who had passed the 365 tests to appear. If Hu Meiniang is extremely beautiful, then this one is extremely ugly. The exposed skin was wrinkled, half purple and half green, and extremely rough. The hands and feet are one big and one small, the big ones have exposed veins and sharp nails, the small ones are curled up, like clenched chicken feet. His face was even worse, with a wide mouth and a flat nose, and his hair was disheveled and uneven. If it has any advantages, it is a pair of eyes. The black pupils reveal ignorance and innocence, which is the most primitive spirituality of life. Fellow Taoist Long, fellow Taoist Su, can you give the sun up to Pandeo? Zhen Yuanzi couldn't help but said. Great Immortal, this sun has entered my Chongshan mountain, Su Junming said with a smile. Zhen Yuanzi sighed. The two of you are really blessed. With this sun in Chongshan Academy, the foundation will last for hundreds of millions of years. Su Junming and Dragon Emperor listened, and couldn't help showing excited smiles on their faces. Old Mother Lishan was thoughtful, while the other Daluo were a little confused. Although they know that those who can pass the test of direct disciples of Chongshan Academy must be extraordinary, but this little guy who is only 3 feet tall, looks no more than 4 or 5 years old, and is extremely ugly, how can he be worthy of being snatched away by immortal Zhen Yuan? This old immortal was born in ancient times. What kind of genius has not been seen until now? To make him want to take on a disciple, this kid must be a peerless talent unique in millions. Great Immortal, what's so strange about this kid? Jing Chenzi of the Luofu school asked. Don't say it. If you say it, it will be a disaster rather than a blessing for the child. Zhen Yuanzi turned his head and said, I didn't expect that the two fellow Taoists could also see the clues. The excitement in the eyes of Dragon Emperor and Su Junming just now was not hidden from him. The look in their eyes as if they had found a treasure definitely revealed the details of this kid. The two of us are proficient in the art of reading Qi, so we can see 1 or 2 clues about him. If you are just a layman, you won't be able to see through this innate obstacle. Of course Su Junming couldn't say about the existence of the bronze mirror. After smiling, he didn't say much. Seeing them communicating with each other, the other Daluo looked at each other with no answers, and all looked at the black and ugly boy. But no matter how they looked at it, there was no result. Do you have a name? Su Junming asked in an extremely gentle tone. Although the child's legs and hands were larger and smaller, he stood up very steadily. He scratched the back of his head a bit awkwardly and shyly. Since I was born, I have been wandering around the world without a name. After he finished speaking, his expression became depressed, with a hint of grievance in his eyes. Apparently when traveling, I was often disliked or even beaten because of my ugly appearance. If it weren't for its innate miraculous powers, I'm afraid it wouldn't be able to get here. If you want, how about I give you a name? Real? The little guy raised his head suddenly, his eyes bright and full of expectation. Certainly. Yes, yes, I do. Su Junming pondered for a moment. Just take my surname as Su, and as for your name, let's call it He Shao. Su Heshu, Su Heshu, thank you to the ancestor for giving me the name. Su Junming smiled and nodded, then turned his head. Although this child has a strong foundation, he has shortcomings in his transformation. Let me make up for his shortcomings, and then I can practice with you. The Dragon Emperor nodded. Su Junming stood up and cupped his hands. Great Immortal, everyone, I will take these disciples to the Patriarch Hall to register first, so I don't need to accompany them. Although everyone wanted to know the details of this black and ugly child, they knew from the looks of Su Junming and Long Di that they would not tell them, so they had to watch each other leave. Looking at the disappearing light, Zhen Yuanzi sighed. Great Immortal, was that child just now the Greenwood elf? Old Mother Lishan said through a message. More than that, he is an innate god. I haven't seen him for many years. Zhen Yuanzi sighed. Tai Chi innate spirit. After looking at her, Zhen Yuanzi's eyes became profound. The beginning. His. Mother Lishan took a breath of cold air. The innate gods of Taoist were the top qualifications in the ancient world. Sanking, Nuwa, Fuxi, 12 ancestral witches, Dong Huang Tai, including Zhen Yuanzi, are all at this level. She finally understood why Zhen Yuanzi couldn't help but snatch it. Once such a disciple is trained, he will definitely be the Optimus Prime of the sect. It's not easy for plant elves to grow, so don't spread the word. Seeing Zhen Yuanzi's warning eyes, Lishan's mother was frightened, and she quickly nodded in agreement. This old immortal loves grass and wood elves the most. Whenever he encounters them, he will take them under his tutelage and teach them. You can't see others harming you. If you encounter them, you must teach them a lesson. That's awesome, kill him directly. She couldn't help but be awed. After Su Heshu, Chongshan Academy seemed to have used up all its luck, and no direct disciples who could pass the 365 layers of illusion tests appeared. However, there are many inner disciples, close to 10,000. The probability of selecting these people from among billions of monks is lower than the southern territory of Chongshan Academy. This is also understandable. The southern territory of Chongshan Academy is completely under their control. As long as outstanding disciples appear, they can get it. However, most of these casual cultivators from all over the world are not good enough to be successful at high levels, and the really good seedlings have long since been accepted by various sects. Even if some are missing, it won't be much. It is already good to have 3 direct descendants and nearly 10,000 inner disciples. Leave the management of the inner disciples to Jiao Shaoxin and his disciples. Although these people have entered the sect, they cannot be considered true disciples of Chongshan. Only after many years of training and instilling the purpose, rules, and principles of Chongshan Academy in them can they truly return to their heart, can they be considered qualified. Only then will they be assigned to actual positions by the Political and Education Office, or become teachers, or enter Tiangong Academy, or be on duty, and shine for the growth of Chongshan Academy. After finishing the sermon and accepting the disciples, all the great Luo made an appointment to see each other at the Yuntai Immortal Society and then left each other. Zhen Yuanzi and Lishan's mother left last. If the little guy encounters difficulties in the future, he can go to Wanchao Mountain to seek my help. I would like to thank the great immortal on his behalf, said the Dragon Emperor. After nodding and smiling, Zhen Yuanzi set up the escape light and disappeared into the distance instantly. Mom, is there anything else going on? Mother Lishan smiled faintly. I see that Chongshan Academy pursues the principle of teaching without distinction, which is quite similar to the Jijiao in ancient times. I wonder if your sect is the inheritance of the Shangqing lineage. The fundamental classic of Chongshan Academy was born out of the Shangqing Great Cave scripture. Lishan's mother's eyes flashed. This is the most widely spread technique in Jijiao. Although he is not a direct descendant of the core, he is still part of the Jijiao lineage. It's a pity that we only have the part before becoming an immortal, and there is no follow-up Yuan Yang chapter, Tai chapter, and Deluo chapter. For the sake of the path, the 8 of us brothers took the sutra as the basis, learned from each other's strengths, complemented each other's weaknesses, and were inclusive, and slowly deduced it. The current fundamental classic of Chongshan Academy is Chongshan Yuan Yang Zhenjing. The reason why we have established the mission of education without discrimination, equality for all, is also due to this experience. Only by being inclusive and constantly innovating can we continue to make progress. A conservative future will only lead to further degeneration. The Dragon Emperor's categorical words shocked old Mother Lishan's nerves. Take a slight breath. My Taoist friend's words are really inspiring. I have learned a lesson from him. Lishan's mother slapped her head in disgrace. After the Dragon Emperor returned the gift. Fellow Taoist Long, I greatly admire the Chongshan lineage's founding purpose and code of conduct. I would like to travel around Chongshan Academy. Do you have any comment? Of course you can. He reached out and pointed at Gongsun Juniang, who was accompanying him. Just let this little girl come with me. The Dragon Emperor turned around. Juniang, please accompany my mother to visit the territory of my Chongshan Academy. Whether it's outside or inside the cave of my Chongshan Academy, if my mother wants to go, you can go. What about Kixuan Peak? Same. Disciple understands. Thank you, fellow Taoist dragon. After the Dragon Emperor nodded, old Mother Lishan turned around. Little girl, let's go. Senior, please. The two set up the escape light and left slowly. Looking at the retreating figure, the Dragon Emperor's eyes flickered. Isn't this Lishan old lady really a holy mother who has no teachings? Su Junming's figure gradually solidified. The magic she practices is indeed the highest purity magic, but the Jijiao method is too widely spread. You and I both practice it, and there are countless sects in the earthly immortal world that are based on the Supreme Pure Great Cave Sutra. Based on this alone, it is impossible to conclude that she is the Virgin Mary. The Dragon Emperor was silent for a moment. Is Jijiao's most important weapon to suppress the sect, the 4 swords of killing immortals, or the Qingping sword? Su Junming understood what he meant. Sect disciples all have unique marks. For example, in the mission Nanzang, there are projections of the sect's most precious treasure, the 9 Elder Immortal Capital Divine Fire Seal, in the Danshan. In Chongshan Academy, the direct disciple Danshan has a bronze mirror and the Hunyuan Divine Gate, while the inner disciples only have the Hunyuan Divine Gate. As long as there are projections of these 2 treasures, they must be Chongshan disciples. But just now they used a bronze mirror to look at the Danshan shrine of Mother Lishan. There were neither the 4 swords of killing immortals nor the projections of the most precious treasures such as Qingping sword and fishing drum. As a result, it is difficult for them to judge. Forget it, it doesn't matter whether she is a virgin or not. If we can fight for it, we will fight for 1 or 2, and it will also strengthen the momentum of our Chongshan Academy. If not, forget it. If it is just the earthly immortal world, with our current cultivation, more than enough to protect yourself. The Dragon Emperor nodded. How's the boy doing? There was a hint of excitement in Su Junming's eyes. I asked him to absorb the spiritual energy of creation and the innate spiritual energy of Taishu in the creation spirit island. Although it was contaminated with the fundamental energy of innate creation and transformed, it lacked the foundation and foundation. When he completes his foundation, I will definitely give you a good disciple like a golden boy in heaven. The Dragon Emperor shook his head. Give him to Lao Er. Among us, apart from Lao Lu, who has just transformed, he is the only one who has no disciples. This is the best innate elixir, the innate spirit of the beginning that took the form of Polygonum multiflorum. Are you willing to give it up? Su Junming said with a smile. If there is any reluctance, they are not outsiders. Moreover, although my 4 disciples are not as qualified as him, their character and perseverance are not bad, and they may not be weaker than him in the future. Su Junming nodded, as long as you agree. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 900. By the way, Zhen Yuanzi found out the details of Su Heshu. What if he? No, Zhen Yuanzi is known to like plant elves, and he will not reveal Su Heshu's details. There was a pause. However, there must have been speculation since there were so many Deluo monks here before. The temptation of the best innate elixir is too great, so it is necessary for Su Heshu to avoid the limelight first. The Dragon Emperor nodded and said, let him practice in the world of Chongshan when the time comes. When it becomes impossible to enter, he will come to the immortal world again. Su Junming also knows that this method is the safest. The temptation of the best innate elixir is too great. Just a few roots are more powerful than many Deluo elixirs. Once the news spreads, I am afraid that all the major sects under Buddhism and Taoism will not be able to help but come to snatch it. Everything is done, I'll leave this to you. What about you? Dragon Emperor turned around and asked. Me? Of course I will continue on my way. His original purpose of coming out this time was to travel all the way and then go to Dongsheng Shenzhou to participate in the Yuntai Ferry Fair. What happened in Lingling County was just a coincidence. Be careful. There has been no news from the Taiyan ghost sect in the past 3 years. They probably have bad intentions. It is said that a biting dog never barks, and this is true for this old ghost. But I am really looking forward to when he will take action, just in time to wipe out this cancer growing underground in Jingchu. I have advised you so long ago. The Dragon Emperor glanced at him. Haha, the old ghost of Taiyan is just a clown and can't get on the stage. Stabilizing the foundation of our Chongshan in Jingchu is the key. The matter has come to this, I can only let you do it. With a flash of light, the Dragon Emperor's figure disappeared. This guy is still a sultry guy who is hot on the outside but hot on the inside as always. Shaking his head, he set up the escape light and left the cave in the main courtyard of Lingling City of Chongshan Academy. Since Chongshan Academy spread to Jingxiang and Lingnan 27 counties, covering an area of 5 trillion miles, the original Lingling City Upper Academy became the Lingling City General Academy. The escape light stopped above a courtyard. Looking down from a distance, I saw a tall and strong figure in the yard, moving around, fighting with a set of fists and kicks, which was extremely powerful. Under the pomegranate tree nearby, a monkey wearing a tiger skin skirt and a yellow bunt was blackmailing Erlang's legs. He was drinking wine and rubbing peanuts, while watching the tall figure boxing, and occasionally giving some advice. It was very pleasant. This Hosen. After shaking his head and smiling, Su Junming flew down. Sensing the movement, Sun Shi quickly got up. Master. Chen Ling, who was practicing martial arts next to him, also stopped quickly and came forward to pay his respects. Ancestor. Chen Ling, who is already 6 years old, has become mentally enlightened under Sun Shi's loving guidance. More importantly, his cultivation level has also improved, and in just 3 years he has reached the martial arts 5 internal organs realm, which is equivalent to the realm of Qi and Yuan Shen training. He is over 300 feet tall. If Chen Ling hadn't awakened from his blood the method of controlling the body of the giant spirit gods, this courtyard would have been unable to accommodate him. Go say goodbye to your mother, it's time for us to hit the road. Chen Ling's eyes lit up, and he suddenly remembered what his master had said about traveling. I'll go right away. After saying that, without returning the clothes, a light flashed under his feet and his figure disappeared instantly. Because his mother was also a monk, she was arranged by Su Junming to study in Chongshan Academy, but she no longer lives here. Master, shall we go north next? Of course. But we have been delayed in Lingling County for more than 3 years, so we need to speed up the next step. Chen Ling came back shortly after leaving, looking a little depressed. It was obvious that he was separated from his mother and was still a little reluctant. However, at the age of 6, although his cultivation had reached the realm of the 5 internal organs, his mind was still that of a child. Not long after he left Lingling City, he was attracted by the scenery along the way and left his sadness behind. The 3 of them left Lingling County and headed north along the official road to Jingxiang. Su Junming's heart moved, and a feeling of being spied on suddenly arose in the spiritual platform, but he couldn't figure out where this feeling came from. He secretly figured it out for himself. Gongua, it's a bad omen. I changed several directions in a row, except that I could turn around and go back safely, but the 3 directions of east, west, and north were all evil. Although I don't know where the danger comes from, the most likely thing is that the Taiyan Ghost Emperor took action. Thinking of this, Su Junming remained calm and glanced at Sun Shi. This monkey has the ability to seek good fortune and avoid misfortune. Judging from the way its eyes flash, it is obvious that it is aware of it. Master. No need to say more, just keep moving forward. Sun Shi understood and remained calm, while the master and disciple continued to move forward. At this moment, millions of feet deep underground, in the Taiyan Hall in the center of the Taiyan Ghost World, Ghost Emperor Tua Bafeng placed in front of him a 3-foot-sized bronze mirror with a frame embossed with exquisite patterns of exotic animals. In the mirror as clear as water, it was Su Junming, master and disciple. It's finally out. A sharp light flashed from Tua Bafeng's eyes. Ever since Lingling City was captured by Chongshan Academy 3 years ago, tens of thousands of Chongshan Academy, Intermediate Academy, and Lower Academy blocked the land of Jingxiang and completely blocked the Taiyan Ghost sect underground. He understood that he and the Chongshan sect there is no room for change. Someone is coming. A powerful yin energy flew into the hall and landed on the ground, transforming into a general wearing a helmet and shaking armor. What are your orders, Your Majesty? You hold my Jade Order and let General Kamikaze lead his Shinwei army to closely monitor Su Junming's whereabouts. With a wave of his sleeves, the bronze mirror next to him flew into his hand. This escape mirror is temporarily given to him. His whereabouts must not be exposed, otherwise I will demote him to the 9 netherworld. Go ahead. The Ghost General held the Heaven Escape Mirror and the Jade Order in both hands and respectfully withdrew. Tua Bafeng sat cross-legged in the depths of the hall, his eyes revealing his thoughts. Although he was confident that with Taiyan Gaixi's powerful realm power, he could compete with the 2 great Loto Celestials, Dragon Emperor and Tai Zhenjun, but he was not sure whether he would be able to withstand them in the end. After pondering for a moment, he took out a golden token from the magic bag. After making a few seals with both hands, a rich Buddha's light spread out from the token. Gradually, a skinny old monk wearing a yellow cassock, with big ears and shoulders, appeared in the Buddha's light. A powerful pressure spread out. Namo Amitabha, Tua Donor, have you thought about it? If I take refuge in your Buddhist sect, what kind of results can I get? The mighty Vajra Bodhisattva protects the Buddhist kingdom of the 18 hells and suppresses evil spirits. His status is only lower than that of the old monk. I am a Deluo monk. If I join Buddhism, can I still not achieve the status of a Buddha? The donor has the image. Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Venerables, Arhats, Vajras, etc., only perform duties, not power. The reason why a Buddha is because all Buddhas do good deeds, obtain good results, and have great merits, so they become Buddhas. It's definitely not because of cultivation. Lao Na, although Avalokitesvara, Manjusri, Samantabhadra and others are great monks, they are only bodhisattvas. Tuabafeng shook his head. I don't understand so many great principles. If you want me to enter Buddhism, you can give me a Buddha fruit in exchange. Looking at Tuaba Peak, where no oil or salt could enter, Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva could not help but frown slightly. If he hadn't transformed an old ghost of the Deluo level and had great merit, he would have turned around and left long ago. Amitba, Tuaba donor. Stop. I don't want to hear you nagging anymore. When Buddhism agrees to my conditions, Ksatagarbha Bodhisattva will come again. The fingers changed, and a powerful seal sealed the token again. The billowing yin chi hit, and the remaining Buddha's light turned into water without a source and a tree without a root, and was quickly destroyed by the yin chi. Far away in the deepest part of the 18th level of hell, in the endless darkness stands a vast golden ocean. Every drop of water is the condensed light of Buddha. Golden lotuses floated above the ocean, densely packed, extending to the end of sight, no less than billions. On each lotus, there is a strange creature sitting cross-legged. They were originally vicious, but now they were solemnly reciting the Buddha's name and preaching the true scriptures. Magnificent Buddhist chants fill every inch of space. In the middle of the endless ocean, there is a 1,000-leaf golden lotus that looks like an ancient giant mountain. An old monk wearing a golden cassock and holding a 9-ringed tin staff sat on it. On top of his head was a large golden orb, blooming with thousands of divine brilliance. From a distance, it looked like a bright sun. Suddenly, the old monk opened his eyes, and his tyrannical aura disappeared in a flash. Wishful thinking. Today's Buddhism is no longer the ancient times when there were only 2 or 3 big fish and small fish. With the 3,000 mortals joining the Buddhist sect, the Buddha's fruit has already been filled with carrots and pits. Up to now, various systems of Buddhism have been completed. Great immortals like Taoist Ghost Emperor who have become monks on their way to becoming monks have no chance of attaining Buddhahood. At best, they are just a bunch of bodhisattvas. If he were a Deluotian immortal, he might consider giving him a different title, Buddha. Too bad he wasn't. After shaking his head slightly, Ksatagarbha didn't care anymore. It's just a Deluo celestial being, and there is no shortage of them in Buddhism now. Master, is Zhongling city ahead? Looking at the faint line of the city in the north, Su Junming nodded. With the help of the bronze mirror, you can clearly see the purple energy shaped like a dragon above the city. This is typical dynasty luck, but Xiao Mian is only the king of Liang and has not proclaimed himself emperor, so the purple energy is just a dragon, not a dragon. Master, Master, look! Chen Ling shouted. Looking in the direction of his finger, a village shop on the roadside appeared in his eyes. Sun Shi's face darkened, and he slapped him. Eat, 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 you know how to eat? All the money you earned from killing demons and slaying demons as a teacher has been emptied by you. Chen Ling covered his head with an innocent look on his face. Master, you eat as much as I do. I am the master, so I should eat more. This isn't fair, Chen Ling muttered softly. What did you say? I said I would buy some more chickens for master to eat earlier. Sun Shi nodded with satisfaction. That's pretty much it? Seeing the exchange between the two, Su Junming shook his head helplessly. He never expected that the disciples taught by Sun Shi would be like this. Greedy, loves to eat, and is not stingy. I remember that when we first met, Chen Ling was an honest child. Thanks to the book friend Boring Zioxy for the 100 starting coin reward, thank you very much. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Become a disciple of Taoist priest 4 Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 901. Chapter 882 Just the Right Time. Su Junming had no intention of interfering with Master Sun Shi and Chen Ling. Each disciple had different habits of teaching his disciples. As long as his nature is not bad, he will let it go. The three masters and apprentices stepped into the village store. Because this place is close to Zhongling City, there are many merchants and pedestrians traveling from north to south. Half of the large courtyard, which covered an acre of land, was filled with carriages, and the remaining 30 or so tables were almost full. Seeing the three masters and apprentices coming in, many people cast curious glances. A tall Taoist priest, a giant man nearly 10 feet tall, and a skinny monkey wearing a tiger skin skirt. This combination is really weird. Although the waiter was a little scared, he still came over. After looking at Sun Shi fearfully, he walked to Su Junming's side. Master Dao, do you want to be a prostitute or stay in a hotel? Topping. You guys, please come over here. He took the three masters and apprentices to an empty table and sat down. The simple 8 immortals table was wiped very clean. What do you Taoists want to eat? Is there any meat? Sun Shi asked. Yes, there are chickens, ducks, and fish. We also have freshly slaughtered fat pigs, cooked in a big pot, guaranteed to be delicious. Serve the meat first and fill this table for me. After saying that, with a click, 12 taels of silver appeared on the table. It's not enough. The waiter's eyes suddenly lit up and he was no longer afraid. He went up and picked up the money. Sir, would you like some wine? We have the best Nuerhong and aged Shayadazi here. No more wine, more meat. Sun Shi waved his hand. No wine is as delicious as the monkey wine he brewed himself. The waiter responded and went down. Not long after, a large copper basin filled with cooked pork was served. Although not much seasoning was added. But the fat pig raised in the rich spiritual energy of the earthly immortal realm is also very fragrant when cooked with only onions, ginger, and salt. Chopped coriander and green onion are sprinkled on top, and the aroma becomes more intense. The 2-foot diameter wooden basin takes up less than half of the table. Soon there were 3 roasted chickens, 3 roasted ducks, steamed large sea bass, braised grass carp, pork liver, pig lungs, pig intestines, and pork belly on 2 large plates. After a while, the entire 8 immortals table was filled to the brim. 3 guests, are you satisfied with this? A middle-aged man wearing a blue robe smiled enthusiastically. This meat is enough for us masters and disciples to stuff their teeth between our teeth. If we make some more, we will have money from you. Sun Shi took out another 10 taels of silver and put it on the table. Okay, please wait a moment, I'll give you the orders right away. Money can make all the difference. The middle-aged man walked a little faster with the silver. How much silver is left? Sun Shi smiled. The 10 taels just now were the final package money. Su Junming saw this and shook his head slightly. Along the way, they told people's fortunes, slayed demons, and eliminated bandits and road tyrants. All the silver they got was eaten by the 2 masters and apprentices. Then let's eat less today. Hey, don't worry, master. 20 taels is enough for today's meal. You want to tell people's fortunes again? Su Junming heard the elegant music and knew its elegant meaning. Eating for a living. Seeing his lazy look, Su Junming didn't say much. After experiencing it a few times along the way, he was used to it. Seeing Chen Ling's eager look, Su Junming picked up his chopsticks and took a few casual bites. Okay, you can eat. Unlike Chen Ling and Sun Shi, he has such a strong appetite, and he has been practicing Taoism for many years and has eaten all the delicious food. I am not very interested in these chicken, duck, and fish meats. Hearing what he said, Sun Shi and Chen Ling, the master and apprentice, were like wild horses running wild, each holding a roasted chicken and gnawing it without using chopsticks. A mouthful of wine and a mouthful of meat, eating so happily. The wine and meat in the store are constantly being added, and the empty plates are being carried down like water. It didn't take long, and all the diners in the village shop looked over. Pointing and gossiping continued, but the three masters and disciples were used to being surrounded by people, so they ate as if no one was around. "Sir, these people and monkeys are really good at eating. In the time it took us half a meal, they had already eaten as much as dozens of people." The person who spoke was short and stocky, with a fleshy face, and was very vicious. However, his chi and blood were surprisingly rich. Although he tried his best to hide it, he still couldn't hide his military aura. Next to him was an imposing young man wearing a white robe and a turban. "Three of you must be extraordinary. Come on, let's go over and get to know each other. Sir, you'd better be careful when you go out." A tall and thin middle-aged man wearing a green robe blocked the young man's way. "Don't worry, Mr. Wang. I don't think the three of you look like evil people," he said and strode over. The middle-aged man had no choice but to catch up with the short and sturdy man next to him. "The three of you have invited me. I'll go to Tang Cheng again. I'm a businessman here. I see the heroic style of the three of them and their informality. I admire them very much. I wonder if I can eat at the same table with the three of you." Sun Shi and Chen Ling glanced at him and then all looked at Su Junming. "Store, please add another table." "No need to bother." Tang Cheng turned around and said, "Tang Che, bring our table over." The short and sturdy man following behind nodded, and one person easily carried the table where the wine and meat were served, and put it together with the table of Su Junming's master and apprentice. "You haven't asked the names of the three noble people yet," Tang Cheng said with cupped hands. "They are my disciples and disciples. As for their names, it will do you no good to know them," Su Junming said. Tang Cheng frowned slightly and was not angry. "Those three are also cultivators. If not, how could we eat so much wine and meat?" Su Junming said. Sun Shi and Chen Ling just drank and ate meat without answering. "Now that there are frequent wars and unrest in the world, our merchants need more guards. If the three of them are free, I am willing to pay a high price to hire three of them." "We charge a high price, but I'm afraid you can't afford it," Sun Shi interjected. Tang Cheng smiled, showing confidence. "I can also afford 10,000 taels of silver. I also have yin and yang immortal materials here. I have no shortage of magical weapons, and I am not stingy with flowers and beauties." Sun Shi smiled faintly, with a hint of ridicule in his eyes. "Even the Jade Emperor of Heaven and the Buddha of the West have absolutely no such confidence in front of my master and disciple. You are really boasting. You can reach Ling Xiao? Can you meet the Buddha?" The short and stocky Tang Che sneered. Sun Shi raised his eyebrows angrily and was about to speak when he was stopped by Su Junming. "Our meal costs 100 taels of silver. Master, are you willing to pay the bill for me, master and disciple? What's so hard about this?" He took out a piece of gold directly from the money bag at his waist. "I think the money is enough." Su Junming smiled and nodded. "Thank you, sir. Let's go." After Sun Shi and Chen Ling clicked, their figures disappeared instantly. "Sir, these three guys are tricking us," Tang Che said angrily. Tang Cheng frowned, and after a moment of feeling, he turned his head. "Mr. Wang, did you notice how these three people left?" The middle-aged man in green robe known as Mr. Wang shook his head. "Didn't notice anything. You can't even notice it with your cultivation level? Then aren't these three people powerful in the Tai realm?" "At least one of the three is from the Tai realm," the middle-aged man confirmed. "Master, look quickly." Tang Che's exclamation made the two of them turn their heads instantly. But at some point, the gold ingots placed on the table had turned into two yellow talismans. Tang Cheng picked it up subconsciously. A familiar voice instantly rang in my ears. 100 years from now, you will be wiped out and your family will be destroyed. These two talismans, one hidden at home and one carried with you, can help you survive the disaster and become auspicious. It's such a powerful talisman, I'm afraid it's beyond the Tai level. The middle-aged man in green robe felt it for a moment and then exclaimed. Your Highness, put away the talisman quickly. This is a priceless treasure. In a moment of urgency, he spilled the beans. But at this time, he couldn't care anymore. These two Deluo spiritual talismans were too precious. Tang Chen was not stupid either. He put away the two talismans and left enough money for the meal. We're leaving immediately. The three of them turned around and left the village shop, activated their magic weapons, and quickly disappeared into the distance. In the mid-air above the village store, under the cover of a space barrier, the three masters and apprentices looked at the retreating figures. Master, that guy named Tang Chen has a lot of dragon energy in him. This man's name is not Tang Chen, but Li Jiancheng. He is the eldest son of Li Yuan, the king of Tang dynasty in Guangzhou. Su Junming also didn't expect to meet Li Jiancheng here. In this way, Li Yuan has the hope of becoming emperor. But if his son has such a heavy imperial dragon energy to protect him, then of course there will be more fathers. Su Junming nodded. Why did Master give him two Huishan talismans? This child will have the power of life in 100 years. These two Huishan talismans can save his family's lives, and also repay the cause and effect of this meal. Li Jianquan's talents are not much worse than Li Shimin. In terms of temperament, he is much more benevolent than Li Shimin, who led the Suanwu sect revolution, killed his brothers, and wiped out his entire family. Now that he has encountered it, he will be given two spiritual talismans. Whether he can escape death in the end depends on his luck. This kid has made a lot of money, son, she said. Let's go, Zhongling City is ahead. The three masters and disciples only took Zhongling. As the core of Jingchu, the kingdom of Chu in the south, Zhongling City was 3 or 4 times larger than Linling City. The city wall, which is thousands of miles long and hundreds of feet high, is like a majestic ancient mountain, creeping beside the Yangtze River. On the west side, it controls the vast Dongting Lake with hundreds of millions of miles of smoke. Wrapped in the rich water vapor, it has become a place of water and Taoism. A holy place for spiritual practice. In addition to the newly arrived Chongshan Academy, hundreds of sects, large and small, stand in Zhongling City. Not long after Su Junming and his disciples entered the city, a group of mighty sergeants wearing helmets and carrying armor, led by a general, came galloping over. After dispersing the people around him, the general got off his horse and got in front of Su Junming, master and disciple, and knelt down in front of them. The Imperial Guard General Cao Shuang pays homage to Master Chongshan. When entering the city, Su Junming did not hide his figure and was naturally recognized. Become a disciple of Taoist priest Four Eyes. Author, Dong Ren. Chapter 902. Chapter 883 Zhongling City, Huayang Palace. Get up, but King Liang asked you to come. Exactly. King Liang was overjoyed when he learned that the real person's Jade Toe had arrived in Zhongling City. He immediately ordered the young general to come here to welcome the real person's Dharma to Huayang Palace. The king of Liang, along with all the ministers, held a banquet in honor of the real person. I understand. Could you please lead the way? Please, please. Cao Shuang asked his soldiers to give up 3 horses, but Su Junming and the others did not ride on them. Huayang Palace is the royal palace of Liang Wang Xiaoxian. It is located in the center of Zhongling City. It was originally the old palace of Western Liang. It was destroyed in the war when the Sui dynasty unified the Chen dynasty in the south. Xiao Mian rebelled against the Sui dynasty and became queen, and rebuilt the Huayang Palace. It has only been more than 10 years since then. Su Junming has seen the majestic and gorgeous palace many times. I don't think there is anything strange about Huayang Palace. However, after he passed through the city gate and passed through the wide bluestone square, A large number of Liang Kingdom's monarchs and ministers were already lined up in front of the steps to greet him. Standing at the front was a tall middle-aged man wearing a 9-dragon robe, an imperial crown on his head, and a green dragon pendant on his waist. He had a majestic and luxurious temperament. Seeing him, Chen Ling, who was walking behind, felt a little close to him inexplicably. Suddenly I was tapped twice on the shoulder. I turned around and saw that it was Master. There was a soothing power in the clear eyes, which quickly calmed down Chen Ling's originally impetuous mood. The real person is finally here. I have been thinking about Xiao Xian very hard these past 3 years. Xiao Mian took the initiative to greet him. The words are sincere and extremely close. For those who didn't know, they thought Su Junming was his biological father. Prince Liang is welcome. The real person has come from far away. I have already set up a banquet in Chongxian Hall to welcome the real person and wash away the dust. Su Junming didn't refuse either. Under Xiao Mian's attentive reception, the group came to Chongxian Hall. In the grand hall, rare delicacies are displayed on neatly arranged long tables. Su Junming sat in the first place on the left, second only to Liang Wang Xiao Xian in the middle. Come, let us raise a toast to the real person. The monarchs and ministers of the Liang Kingdom raised their wine glasses at the same time. Su Junming didn't refuse either. After everyone drank it all. Master, you will definitely have to spend more time when you come to Zhongling City this time. The kindness of King Liang is deeply appreciated. But Su Junming has to go to Dongsheng Shenzhou to attend the Yuntai Ferry Fair, so I'm afraid he won't be able to stay long. I just regret that Xiao Mian has low qualifications and it is difficult to achieve success in practice. Otherwise, he would have to be like a real person, traveling around the world and gathering with immortals and gods. Xiao Mian sighed. The king of Liang is the supreme leader of the 9th five-year plan. He holds the power of the world. How can he be compared to us and other people in the mountains and wild areas? The real person is too modest. No matter how powerful he is, after 100 years, it will only be a loss of Lois. That is not as good as the real person who lives the same life as the heaven and the earth, and decays with the sun and the moon. If King Liang is willing to give up the position of human king, Pandao can also let King Liang enjoy a long life. Su Junming said calmly. Can't I, the king, do it now? Cultivating the Tao requires meditation. His Majesty, Prince Liang, has so many things to do every day, how can he find the time to realize the Tao? As far as I know, the population of the land under Genren Chongshan Academy is no less than that of my Liang Kingdom. Why is it that Genren, as the head of the academy and in charge of great power, is not affected at all? Looking at Xiao Mian with bright eyes, Su Junming said calmly. Although I am the head of the courtyard, I have never interfered with secular affairs. When I deal with common affairs, I have my own disciples to take care of them. If the king of Liang follows suit, I will not hesitate to teach him. Xiao Mian laughed and let go. Just kidding, cultivating immortality and pursuing immortality are just accessories and seasonings of power. If power is lost, what is the meaning of these? With Xiao Mian's polite greetings and Su Junming's respectful concessions, the meal was a feast for both host and guest. After the banquet, Xiao Mian arranged for the 3 masters and apprentices to live in a palace specially designed to receive distinguished guests. As night fell, most of Weiyang Palace fell into darkness. Except for the forest guards wearing helmets and carrying armor, few people were walking. Qianqing Hall is the core of Weiyang Palace and the main place where Xiao Mian stays. Wearing a dragon robe, he did not go to the harem to look for signs tonight. He kicked out all the servants and sat cross-legged on the dragon bed, waiting quietly. At midnight, a trace of black ghostly energy flew out from the ground. Floating around, he gradually transformed into the figure of the Taiyan Ghost Emperor. Xiao Mian quickly stepped forward and bowed to salute. See, benefactor. I thought you climbed onto the high branches of Chongshan Academy and forgot about me. I don't dare. If it weren't for my benefactor back then, I would have died in the back alleys of Bailing County. I wouldn't have the high position of King Liang today. As long as you know. Su Junming is in your palace. Yes. His subordinates arranged for him to stay in the palace, along with one of his disciples and one of his disciples. Well done. Tomorrow, Ao Chong, the Dragon King of Dongting Lake, will invite him to a banquet. You must take him with you. I obey. After a respectful response, my benefactor, I don't have much antidote to the ghost poison in my body. Can you give me some more? I came in a hurry and didn't bring much with me. You use these 12 pills first. When you kill Su Junming tomorrow, I will give you more. As he spoke, a blue and white porcelain bottle flew towards him. Thank you, Lord. Take it with both hands. Remember my instructions. Yes. The ghost energy dissipated, and Tua Bafeng's figure slowly disappeared. It wasn't until there was no trace of ghost energy in the entire hall that Xiao Mian slowly straightened up. Looking at the porcelain bottle in his hand, a strong anger appeared in his eyes. After taking a deep breath, his expression gradually calmed down. Is there someone coming? A eunuch wearing a brocade robe quickly opened the door and walked in. What are your orders, Your Majesty? Bring concubine Li, concubine Zhen, and concubine Wu. According to the order. Etc. Stopped the eunuch, who was about to turn around and leave. Do I still have a Heaven's Heartstone in my inner treasury? Exactly. Take my handwritten edict and take it out. By the way, take the rainbow grass and the Tai spiritual water that was just put into the warehouse last month and send them to Su Jinren. Say that this is my gratitude to Chongshan Academy for killing Chu. A gift to slay demons and maintain peace in the place. Although he didn't know why the always stingy king of Chu would be so open-minded, the old eunuch who had been in the palace for a long time knew very well what to ask and what not to ask. After responding respectfully, he bowed his body and exited the door. Chongshan Academy, Taoist Ghost Sect, hum. Strong hatred echoed in the hall along with a cold snort. Master, I see that although Xiao Mian is respectful on the surface, there is an air of hostility in the corners of his eyes and brows, Sun Shi said. We took away the 2 counties under our control. Chongshan Academy has penetrated every inch of the land under his rule. No monarch will like a power outside of our control. But that Xiao Mian has a ghostly look on his face, and he seems to have some connection with the Taoist ghost section. Sun Shi nodded and said, it seems to be the rare black-haired ghost gu in the ghost world. Only this kind of Tai immortal gu, which is rare in the Gu Dao, can control Xiao Mian, the lord of a country. It seems that although the Taoist ghost sect has been subdued for 3 years, it has been hiding behind the Chu state. Su Junming nodded. As expected, the old ghost was behind the surveillance we were subjected to along the way. Master, the other party is deliberately planning to let us go. Zhongling City is too dangerous. Should we exit first? Smiling and patting him on the shoulder. No need to worry. The Taoist ghost sect is like a poisonous snake hiding in the dark. If it is not removed, it will always be a threat to our Chongshan Academy. Sun Shi understood, that's why Master put himself in danger to lure him out of the Taoist ghosts. There is a reason for this, but I want him to attack me first. With an excuse, I can completely eradicate the Taoist ghosts. Otherwise, the teacher will be unknown and easily criticized by others, especially the Buddhist section. Although the power of the Taoist ghost realm is strong, Su Junming still has ways to deal with it. But the impact of killing a Deluo monk is too great. If the master is famous, it can reduce a lot of trouble. Dong dong. There was a sudden knock on the door. Who? Zhen Zhensu is here, and Guan Yun of the Zhejiang family has sent a treasure to Jinren according to your majesty's order. Etc. Su Junming fluttered his hands and used several seals to remove the restrictions in the room. Come in. Squeak. With a hoarse friction sound, the eunuch beside Xiao Mian opened the door and walked in. Behind him were 3 young eunuchs. Each little eunuch held a tray in his hand, covered with red cloth, which was obviously not a mortal object. Your Majesty is sitting in front of you, holding a pen, and the eunuch oversees the cloud. See Master Su. My father-in-law is here late at night. Do you have anything important to do? Your Majesty said, Chongshan Academy has done a great job in slaying demons and ensuring peace in the Chu kingdom. He specially asked the Zajia family to choose 3 gifts from their underwear and bring them to the real person to show His Majesty's gratitude. With a wave of his hand, the 3 young eunuchs hurriedly walked forward. Opening up the red cloth on the far left, a long-necked blue and white porcelain vase about a foot tall appeared in front of me. Guan Yun picked up the porcelain bottle and shook it briefly, and a sound like a surging ocean wave sounded from it. The name of this treasure is Han Hai Ling Shui, the essence of 10,000 waters, the best of Tai. 1 drop can transform a lake thousands of miles away. It has endless wonderful uses. Please appreciate it. After handing the porcelain vase to Su Junming, Guan Yun walked to the left, lifted the red cloth on it, and revealed a jade box. With a flick of his finger, a flash of spiritual light flew into the jade box and instantly became transparent. It can be clearly seen that there is a light silver spiritual grass with long slender leaves growing in it. This grass is called rainbow grass, and it is the main ingredient for refining Tai level healing medicine. Finally, the red cloth in the middle was lifted, and a pale golden stone placed in a wooden box appeared in front of Su Junming. Tianxin stone, Su Junming asked in surprise. The real person's good vision is the Tianxin stone. This is a pure Yangdeluo spiritual material. If the real person can find a good craftsman, he can use this stone to make a Deluo spiritual treasure. This 3 treasures is a gift from my king to the real person, please accept it. After waving to Sun Shi to take the treasure, he said, Thank you, Your Majesty, for me. After Guan Yun nodded, he said respectfully, the Xie family has to go back to report to His Majesty, so I won't disturb the real person and take my leave. Father-in-law, walk slowly.